He created the Deceased and Living Donation Program in the Hospital Clinic of Barcelona in 1985 and the TSF Multi-Tissue Bank in 1994. He's an expert in organ and tissue donation, training donor procurement and tissue banking at a national and international level. Since 1994, he has also been the Director of International Master in Organ Donation and Transplantation of Organs, Tissues, and Cells. Manuelage, I hope I'm spelling and pronouncing it correctly, has been the leader of several national and international research projects. I request my team now to please play the video presentation of Professor Marty.
Hello, dear friends and colleagues. It's my pleasure to participate in this international conference here in Pakistan about the health research. I hope in the near future we can be face to face with you, but today let me explain our research and development in donation and transplantation from the DTI Foundation and Barcelona University. Well, the issue is that worldwide is no donation, no transplantation, and many countries in the world, as you can see in this area, donation is not much developed. We know that the total number of transplants in the world every year, 157,000, is only the 10% of the global needs. And what is the main problem? That we need more deceased donation. Deceased donation is only 10% also of the need. And our mission worldwide from the DTI Foundation is to help the world to make 1 million transplants every year to achieve the self-sufficiency as is the wishes of the WHO. Where are the donors? The donors came from the people who die in the countries. And here you have the countries with the number of deaths per year and with the number of deceased donors. For example, Spain, with 477,000 cadavers, 2,300 have been donors in 2023. That is 0.49%. And we consider that the self-sufficiency in a country is 1% of the death are potential donor, but 0.5% are utilized donor. And almost that is the case, the United States, the Emirates, and so on. Looking at Pakistan, we have 1.6 million of cadavers every year, but the deceased donation is still not running, and we hope that in the future, with more research and development, we can start. Well, let me explain what are the research programs that we did. Well, in the 90s, we started doing research program with the Spanish grants, mainly to have a good maintenance of the donors, to prevent the infections, to improve the ischemia reperfusion of the liver and the kidneys with the normothermic recirculation. And lastly, we have done also a lot of projects for the protection of the living donation. And this is a project that we did with the European grants, almost like 1 million euros each. The first one we call European Training Program in Organ Donation, have been implemented in 20 different partners in all these countries and led by TPM Barcelona University in all this area. What we design is a program and evaluate the results at the training in the hospitals who have the potential donors in the area or region and in the country. And at the end, we analyze the data and we find that the number of utilized donors before and after the implementation of the system have been increased at 27%. And the number of organs procured also 20%, have demonstrated some efficiency. Another program is the Organ Donation European Quality System, because we define all the steps in the process of donation: donor detection, death declaration, donor evaluation, donor management, family consent, and finally the procurement. But we need to have indicators and criteria of structure a criteria of the process, and criteria of the outcome. And all these centers of Europe, the Karolinska, the Queen Elizabeth in UK, Poland, etc., have implemented these indicators and demonstrate that it's useful to self-assessment of your practice, for auditing, for benchmarking, and is a base for the future European accreditation system. We declare 130 quality criteria and 30 quality indicators in living donation, in donation after brain death, and in donation after circulatory death. Moving back to the living donors, since 2000 we developed all these projects, mainly with European funds, EULIT, ELIPSI, ODECUS, as I explained to you, and also the ACCORD and the LEADOPS. And what are the main conclusions of all these projects we did in 20 years? First, in the group of EULIT, you can see is also well represented from all Europe. Basically, we set up standards and recommendations that can guarantee the living donation health and safety in the European country. And that is the consensus document that we achieve about how is the registry of the living donors, how is the living donor protection, how should be the ethical dilemmas in this donation, and how should be the legal recommendations. And for that we developed 3 tools. One is one informative leaflet in several languages, can be translated to any other local one, online database to follow all these living donors, and also we perform a satisfaction survey long and short term. In the LIPSI is where we analyze the psychosocial follow-up of these donors with exactly the same group. And we see that in a short follow-up perspective, the quality of life of these living donors can be not affected in all these issues: mental health, the role emotional, the social functioning, the vitality, the general health, the body pain, the role of the physicians, and the physical functioning. All these have been stable pre and post living donation. And we'll move to the long follow-up by the quality of life SF36 questionnaire. Also, all these functions of the mental people, of vitality I mentioned before. Hello, dear.
I think he does deserve a round of applause, please. So before we move on next, as a moderator, I think it's my duty to inform you that the presentation time is 10 to 12 minutes. So we would like to keep it that way. Before I move on to introduce my next presenter, whom I was really impressed with reading the profile, Dr. Sabura Vares, who's our next presenter, and who's going to talk about from bench to bedside, a topic very close to my heart, the journey of clinical trials in healthcare. Informing you a little about Dr. Sabura Vares, she's a PhD and postdoc, Monash University, Australia, and is Director of Research and Quality in Maroof International, Islamabad, where she has established a dedicated clinical trial unit and a dedicated GCP-trained clinical research team. Dr. Sabura is outcome-focused, highly technical and motivated biochemist and molecular biologist with more than 5 years of research and project management experience from Australia. She has outstanding talents in conducting and monitoring clinical trial projects, clinical trials, project management, and project budgeting. She implements methodological level planning that makes challenging projects feasible, prepared technical reports, and peer-reviewed research papers. I invite you, Professor Varis to please come on stage and speak to us.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Sabura, and I first of all thank you, Dr. Nasir, for inviting me second time in this conference. And I would also like to congratulate RMI for successfully organizing International Health Research Conference. So for the topic for my presentation today is Bench to Bedside, the Journey of Clinical Trials in Healthcare. So if you imagine a journey where science fictions, they become science facts, and the flickering idea in the laboratory, it transforms into a life-saving treatment at patient bedside. So today I will be exploring the fascinating world of clinical trials in the healthcare, because clinical trial, it spans centuries, it spans countries, and ultimately it has saved and changed countless lives. So scheme of my presentation today, इसको आगे कहाँ से move करना है? Sorry. कौन सा वाला? क्योंकि माइक इधर है ना, so इससे करना है. Okay, thank you. So scheme of my presentation today is I will be talking about the research problem, and then I will be going through clinical trial types and phases, and who are the key players involved in clinical trials, clinical trial procedures, scope of clinical trial industry in Pakistan, and what are the challenges that we are facing in Pakistan in this industry, and our triumphs. So I will be going through, first of all, to introduce you all to the clinical trial. What clinical trial is, it is a type of research that introduces new tests and treatments, and that evaluates effects on human health outcomes. So people volunteer in the clinical trials, and to take part in clinical trials to test medical intervention. Medical interventions are not only limited to drug, they also involve cells, other biological products, surgical procedures, radiological procedures, devices, medical devices, and behavioral treatment. So to set the background, why clinical trials are needed, this is the question. And to go through this, we want to bridge the gap between theoretical promise and the real world application. We are going from the laboratory, the bench, to the patient, the bedside. So if you imagine a scientist that is working meticulously in the laboratory to discover a drug, and then going fast forward, that drug is given to the patient at the bedside. So this is the essence of bench to bedside. And what we are doing in the clinical trial, we are testing the safety and efficacy of the new treatment or the new intervention or medical intervention. So I will be going through the history of clinical trial, and the history of clinical trial, it's 500 BC, years ago, and first experiment to resemble the clinical trial was designed by Ibn Sina, the scientist, and he said told us the experimental principles, how to conduct the experiments that include drugs. And first ever documented clinical trial was conducted in 1747 by James Lynch, and he conducted a comparative clinical trial in which he was trying the acidic substances on the patients who were suffering from disease scurvy, and he observed that the patients who were given oranges and lemon as acidic substance recovered from scurvy within 6 days as compared to other acidic substances. And in 1800 there was a discovery of a placebo, and first double-blind controlled clinical trial was conducted in 1943 because in the 20th century, other techniques were discovered, like for blinding procedures and randomization procedures were discovered. So first double-blind clinical trial was conducted in 1943, which involved streptomycin, a drug for the treatment of TB. And today we are doing the more advanced type of clinical trials that are patient-centric clinical trials. So if you go through this, the history of ethical considerations, because this clinical trial research involves human, and there are strict regulatory rules and regulations and ethical considerations. So if you see the history of these ethical considerations, in the first informed consent was invented in Ottoman Empire, and there was some experiments that were conducted in World War II that were unethical and uninformed experiments, and there was a discovery of Nuremberg Code. And the first principle how to conduct the clinical research were documented by Declaration of Helsinki in 1964, and that are followed by ICHR, the latest guidelines that are the international guidelines, that is the benchmark that we use how to conduct a clinical research. So now I will be going, because there are limited time and time constraints as well. So Dr. Nasir is looking at me. So I will be going through the types of clinical trial. I will be skipping some of the slides. Types of clinical trial I will be quickly going through. There are two types of studies: observational studies that do not involve intervention, and there are intervention studies that involve intervention. So to set the background, scientists are working in the laboratory, they are inventing a drug, and that goes into the preclinical research in the form of animal testing and cell line testing, and after that rigorous testing and checking the drug toxicity and other experiments and in vitro and in vivo experiments. It is ready to be take part in the phase 1 clinical trial, in which humans are involved, and we are testing the new intervention on a very small population in the phase 1, like 5 to 10 people are involved, and we are checking whether this drug is safe and what is the safe dose that people should get in the phase 1 trial. In the phase 2 trial, also again, we are checking the safety plus efficacy of the drug or the intervention that we are checking, and the number of people involved are 100 to 200. In the phase 3 clinical trial, we are testing the new intervention on much larger population, about 1,000 to 3,000 people, and we are again checking the safety, efficacy, and the side effects of the drug. And after getting in the phase 3 results, the drug gets approved, and after getting approval, it goes into the phase 4. Phase 4 is also another step which we collect more safety data after getting approval. So clinical research undergoes very rigorous regulation and focused scrutiny to ensure the safety and efficacy. So who are the key players in this clinical trial? So number one, it comes the investigator. The investigators are the key players. Number one is the investigator, and they collaborate with the sponsors. So sponsors have the new intervention, and they, after getting their new intervention, they get the approval from FDA, and if they are planning to conduct clinical trial in Pakistan, they need to seek approval from National Bioethics Committee and National Independent Ethics Committee of every institute, that is IRB, and Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan, that is DRAP. And after getting all these approvals, the investigator site gets activated. Now investigator is ready to start the clinical trial officially, and they start recruiting the subjects. So this is the key players that are involved in the clinical trial. So what are the requirements and what are the procedures that are involved in the clinical trial? So if you look into the procedures, so what we require is the infrastructure, number one. Secondly, we require healthcare setup. We require a qualified trained staff. Obviously, we require a DRAP approval, ethics committee approval, and stringent monitoring and audit of the clinical trial. So to go through what this means, I need to play this video. Yeah. So what is the clinical trial? How clinical trial unit looks like? So this is the example of the clinical trial unit. And if you see, this is we have the reception desk where patient report and we have informed consent room where informed consent is taken by the study doctor, in which informed consent, all the rights, benefits, and all the risks of the intervention are told to the participant. And then at the screening, we have specialized and fully equipped blood sample collection rooms to complete all our screening procedures. And if you see, we also have because this was the trial, the video was made for the vaccine trial, COVID vaccine trial, we have also COVID sampling room as a screening procedure in this trial. And then we have examination room where doctor takes the history of the patient and the participant in a clinical trial and do the detailed examination, and all examination room is fully equipped. And we have a specialized and qualified nurse to take the demographic information of the patient and to take the blood pressure and weight information. This is a randomization and vaccine and treatment room, we call it, where we have the blinding state we have maintained. If you can see in this, we have the trained pharmacist that is preparing a new intervention to be administered to the patient. And this is our nurse that is administering the intervention to the participant. And after that, doctor is doing the post-observation for 30 minutes. So this is how clinical trial, and this is a data entry room where all the clinical trial data is entered in the real time. So this is how the infrastructure of the clinical trial unit looks like. So scope of clinical trial in Pakistan, this is very important. In the scope of the clinical trial, if you see, this is the data I have got from the International Clinical Trial Registry Platform, WHO Registry Network. If you see on the y-axis, we have the number of clinical studies, and on the x-axis, we have the countries. And if you see in this slide, there are the high-income countries have the significant contribution in this clinical trial studies. But if you see Pakistan, this is Pakistan, where we stand, we have very less contribution in the clinical trials. And if you see our neighbors, the Iran and India, they are comparable to high-income countries. So this is where Pakistan stands at this moment. Our contribution in the field of clinical trial is very, very low. And if you, to tell you an interesting fact that global clinical trial market size, what is the market size for that? We have about it was the 54.2 billion industry in 2022, which grew to 57.7 billion in 2023, and is expected to increase to 92 billion in 2030. And if you see, the Pakistan share is only 0.1% of the global clinical trial industry, and that is all not comparable to its real capacity. If we want to increase that share to increase from 1.1% to 1%, it will be contributing towards more economic growth for the country, more jobs will be created for the doctors, for the pharmacists, for the nurses, and our coordinators. So this is to tell you about the real potential of the therapeutic potential of the Pakistan, and Pakistan has the real therapeutic potential because we have the genetic diversity. We are the country where we share very high disease burden, and this is the depiction here that we are top in the malaria, we are fifth in the TB, we are both high in communicable and non-communicable diseases, and to tell you, we have high number of HIV cases, non-communicable diseases, myocardial infarction is 30%, diabetes is, and hypertension are 41%, our children are 24.6% and 31% are malnourished, and we have the problem of stunting as well in children. So to quickly, the challenges, the obstacles that we are facing in the clinical trials. So number one, this is very limited awareness among the clinicians and general public because they have the myths regarding the clinical trials, and there is a limited awareness among clinicians as well, because if we compare our collaborators at international level, they are consultants, they have their own labs, they are seeing the patients as well, and they have their own lab, they're writing the grants and getting the research done in their own labs, so they are contributing toward the medical advancement. We have shortage of trained investigators in the field of clinical research and clinical research industry, so we need to take our academic partners and stakeholders on and collaborate with them to train more people in this field. And obviously, one of the important is the complexities and delays that we are facing in regulated delays, because if sponsor is conducting a clinical trial and the clinical trial is more feasible in Malaysia or Indonesia, Singapore, that clinical trial will be going to that country, that will not be coming to Pakistan. So obviously we need to define our policies. So busting myths in clinical trial, I will skip through this because time is up. The TRIMES, this is the clinical, we have conducted 6 impactful clinical trials. At Maruf Clinical Trial Unit, we are conducting REVISE, HIPATEC in collaboration with McMaster University, Canada. We are also doing elbow eye trial. We have enrolled 8, we have screened 8 participants. That is in collaboration with Elbotech Swiss. We are also doing LVRNA COVID vaccine trial with AIMS vaccine, Chinese vaccine, and we have successfully enrolled 796 participants. We are also doing PEDS and malnutrition trial with Bill Gates Melinda Research Institute, and active 2D treatment trial we have conducted, and we have screened enrolled 8 participants. It is the highest number from Pakistan at our site, and that is in collaboration with Shinogi Japan and NIH USA. So thank you everyone. So this is the Beyond the Lab podcast series. It is an educational series for busting the myths in the clinical trials. We have started it, and this is my team. So you can go through and watch these videos. It's a general awareness about the clinical trials. And I would like to thank you, acknowledge all the, we are Tertiary Care Hospital, so take home message may I will skip because time is, take home message is because clinical trial industry contribution of Pakistan is very low. So we need to collaborate with all the stakeholders, all the sponsors, all the CROs, all the regulatory bodies, all the investigators need to come on the one platform and make this process feasible for all the sponsors, so we can contribute, have significant contribution in this industry as well. So I would like to thank you, acknowledge all the international and national collaborators, Maruf research team for successful clinical trials, and this is my team. So thank you everyone for my attention, and this is the incredible hard work by my team. That most of them are sitting over here. So that made clinical trials successful. Thank you. And thank you for your patience. I know my time was up.
Thank you, Dr. Sabura. So our next presenter is joining us online, who is Dr. Hafizur Rahman, and he's going to talk about leveraging AI in health research, mapping the course of the next era. Briefly telling you about Dr. Hafizur Rahman, he has done a PhD with distinction in computer and control engineering from Politecnico di Torino, Turin, Italy, where his main research work included the design and development of algorithms applied to protein and gene regulatory networks. His areas of expertise include medical image processing, machine learning, and bioinformatics. Please welcome and give a round of applause to Dr. Hafizur Rahman.
Assalamualaikum. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Am I audible? Assalamualaikum, everyone. audible to everyone?
Yes, Dr. Hafiz, we can hear you. You could continue, please. Can you hear me?
Dr. Sahab, I want to share my slides if it is okay.
Yeah, Faizan? Yes, please share your slide, Dr. Hafiz. I'm Dr. Marukh from RMI. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Okay. आपको आवाज आ रही है डॉक्टर हफीज?
I can listen. Yes.
Okay, we can see your presentation. You can continue, please. You have 12 minutes.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Just give me a minute. I set my timer and then I can start. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Dr. Hafiz. I'm working as an associate professor in Liverpool John Moss University in the Qatar branch. I'm thankful to Dr. Nasir and the organizing committee for giving me a chance to present my research work. I work in the area of artificial intelligence applied to computational biology in general. Today I'm going to talk about exploring the role of AI for personalized medicine. So today's talk, I'm briefly going to cover what is artificial intelligence. I'll try to explain in simple words what is AI, what is the current state of the art in AI, just a few glimpses, and then I will focus on what is the role of AI in healthcare, how the AI can benefit with a simple case study that we have applied on annotating some macromolecules, and we have got excellent results on that. So I'll start with the artificial intelligence. So this is for those who don't know what is AI. So AI is a combination of two words, artificial, that is something that we create, and intelligent is a bit complicated. And intelligent, we say something is intelligent when it has the ability to solve problems, not just problems, but novel problems. So if we put an intelligent being into new situation, it is able to solve to some extent the novel problems, okay? So generally, when we say artificial intelligence, we are talking about software systems in the context of computer science software systems that have certain properties. For example, the AI softwares or AI machines, we call them agents, are able to perceive the environment, so they have perception. They are able to map through thinking what is perceived on actions. So they have the ability to think. Also, they have the ability to act. Along with perception, thinking, and action, they have some degree of autonomy. So we are talking about software systems that have some degree of autonomy, and they have some degree of learning. That is, they improve themselves with experience. The more examples, the more data they see, they improve themselves. Okay. Okay. So the machine or the AI system should be situated in environment from where it is going to perceive, think, and then act on the environment. Okay. AI is applied in, currently it is applied in almost every field. Some of the success story, the recent success stories of AI include, for example, you might have heard of them, for example, the automated cars. So the AI is used to automate vehicles. So what is the current state of the art? So for example, in some cities of United States, in some controlled environment, AI is able to drive the vehicles. Okay. Likewise, we see AI in robots. The examples are DARPA Grand Challenge. Every 2 years it is held. Likewise, we have Mars rover. And the more recent breakthrough of AI is the deep learning, in which the AI is able to have human-like perception on different objects. This is one of the examples. So it is able to see and annotate occluded or partially occluded objects. When we talk about applying AI on medical data, on especially in the context of personalized medicine. So in healthcare, we have myriad types of data. We have so many types of data. So we have, for example, data coming from the molecules, like, for example, DNA data, RNA data, protein sequences, different types of sequences. We have data coming from the images, from various modalities of images. For example, we have X-rays, CTs, ultrasound, PET, SPECT images. And likewise, we have patient records, different types of images. Today's talk, I'll be focusing on molecular data. So why molecular data? Because DNA sequencing is becoming cheap every day. With the passage of time, with the advancement of technology, we have more and more genome sequences that are being unraveled, uncovered. So for example, in the 90s, if we talk about Human Genome Project, the sequencing of the human genome was a $1 billion project back then. But with the passage of time, it has come up to a few $100s. So now you can get your genome sequenced in less than $1,000. Why it is important? Because we can use this information, the genome information, to, for example, one of the broader promises of bioinformatics field is to make personalized medicines. Okay, so we can target the medicines according to the genome of individuals. Okay, so what's the problem? One of the problem at the moment is that if you look at this graph, the graph that I have presented, there is a huge gap between the number of sequences that are being sequenced and the number of annotated functions, or the functions of those sequences. So if we say proteins, so what those proteins do at the molecular level in the cells. So we have, so these statistics are from the well-known databases around the world. So there is a huge gap between the number of known sequences, so the topmost curve, and the bottommost curve, the number of annotated molecules or the proteins. So one of the problem with proteins is that the function of proteins is somewhat elusive in nature. Okay, so we cannot straightforwardly define what is the function of protein. So there is a standardization scheme that solves this problem. It's called the gene ontology scheme. We have used this scheme in our work to make personalized medicine a reality. Okay, so we use gene ontology as a standardization scheme for protein functions. We have experimented with human species proteins. So this is the artificial intelligence network model that we have created. It consists of a generator and a discriminator network. The generator is able to generate fake sequences, like, for example, in ChatGPT, you generate text from the prompts. So you give a prompt and you can ask about anything, and the ChatGPT is going to generate text for you. In our work, we are generating protein sequences. So we give different protein sequences, and we have designed a generator that is able to generate protein sequences. Then we design a discriminator, whose job is to distinguish between the real protein sequence and the fake sequence that we generate. Okay, and we try to learn the patterns in the protein sequences. Okay, so this is an example from the generator. So we have a protein sequence, amino acid sequence. We give to our generator, and the generator generates similar sequences. Okay, protein sequences, and then we give those sequences, the actual sequence and the generated sequence, and we ask the discriminator to distinguish between the real and the fake sequence. So this way we learn which is the actual sequence and which is the fake sequence. So the model that we develop is able to distinguish between the real and the fake sequences. Then once we train the model, then there is a concept in artificial intelligence, we call it transfer learning. So we use the trained discriminator. So the discriminator, once it is able to distinguish, we use that discriminator to understand the functions present in the sequence. Okay, so we give the sequence. So you can see we give the real sequence and we use the learned features in the discriminator, and we use those features to annotate what is present in that sequence. So what that sequence is going to perform, what kind of functions that sequence is going to perform at the molecular level. So given the sequence, we try to predict its functions, okay? And these are some of the results. We have tested on threefold cross-validation. We used threefold cross-validation scheme to test our results. And I have reported here the precision on different folds and the recall on different folds. So we have published this paper last year, and we have this paper is one of the highly cited papers of mine, because it was a breakthrough work on protein sequences. Likewise, I have reported the F1 score and the Hamming loss on different folds. And these are the loss plots and the accuracy plots on different. So we have tested on the human species data set, and these are different plots. So what is the? So in conclusion, I would like to say that the idea is AI is used in every field. It is used as a tool in every field. There is a huge potential in the computational biology field. So we can use AI to understand the complexities of the biological organisms. Okay, we have tested it on the proteins of human species to learn what is present in different protein sequences, to learn the hidden patterns present in the protein sequences, and we have successfully annotated different protein sequences across human species, and this can be used to annotate proteins whose functions are not known. Okay, so this is a breakthrough work, and we envision that in future, I mean, if we are able to annotate protein sequences using AI, so it is not far that the promise of precision medicine is going to be a reality in future. Thank you very much for listening. If you have questions, because my time is about to finish, so if you have questions, I am here to respond. Thank you very much. Dr. Saab, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Hafiz, for your time and your presentation. If there are any questions, we still have like 2-3 minutes. So if anyone would like to ask a question, otherwise we'll move on to our next presenter. All right. Thank you, Dr. Hafiz. So our next presenter is Dr. Sobia Tabassum. She is a professor in the Department of Biological Sciences in International Islamic University, Islamabad, and is trained as a molecular biologist. Her PhD studies were funded by Higher Education Commission, Pakistan, to carry out research work at Washington State University, USA. She received a gold medal in Masters and has published more than 80 articles. She is an active member of several boards in national universities and member of Asian Council of Science Editors, Dubai, UAE. Today, Dr. Tabassum is going to talk to us about interprofessional education, training, and research. Dr. Tabassum, please join us on stage. Where is the point? Can you please do it? Faizan? मेरी स्लाइड्स मेरे ख्याल में चेक कर ली स्लाइड्स जी जी जी. Is this okay? आगे. Is this working? Yes. Yes, this is. This is not working. This is not working. PDF पे नहीं आ रहा. PDF पे नहीं करेगा. फिर ये स्क्रॉल करना होगा. स्क्रॉल करना होगा. अच्छा दूसरी. अब नेक्स्ट बोलती जाए तो. अच्छा ठीक है. PDF मोड नहीं कर रहा है. पॉइंटर काम नहीं कर रहा है. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everyone. And I'm very much delighted to be here for the very first time. And the topic of my talk is interprofessional education, training and research. And this is very general sort of presentation, just for the sake of your interest, to introduce what is the interprofessional education and what is the need to, it needs to be introduced at the institutional level. And why we have not focused yet on this area. Because it is very much necessary to go through if we want to collaborate with the different professions and we want to improve the quality of patient healthcare and we want to improve the outcome of in the healthcare center. So the next one. So before going in the details, we should know what is interprofessional education. Actually, what does it mean, how we can define it? It's basically interprofessional education is a method of educating professionals together to attain a common goal. Basically, this idea, it was introduced in 1988 and WHO states that IPE actually occurs when two or more professions, they come together, they collaborate with each other, they learn from each other, to ensure the effective collaboration and to improve the health outcome. So IPE basically it intends to improve the communication and the basic understanding among different professionals. So right now we are not discussing any particular single disciplinary area. We just want to focus on more than one disciplinary areas so that we can cover our common goal in health sciences. Next one, please. So the entire building of interprofessional collaboration, this entirely focused on the collaboration. So it basically comes through the education and it involves the research, of course, and then how we can apply this research and it comes through the training and the practices across the clinical settings. Next one. So before discussing the details, the IPE model, we should know what is the core competency or how we can develop any framework and what are the main core things that are basically needed to go through this IPE. Number one, we need the collaboration, we need to identify the team. So once we have identified the team, then we can assign different duties or the roles or the responsibilities to the team. For example, while working within the health sciences, we can't say that we just need to go through the medical science. There is also the need to go through the sociology. There is also need to go through the other sciences, and we also need to go through the drug mechanism, and there should be the collaboration between the biologist, molecular biologist, biochemist and the pharmacist, so that we should know the particular target where the drug basically it binds, and it can give you more specific sort of binding rather than to get any sort of the side effect. And it also go through the entire mechanism, and across the clinical settings we should know about the practitioners, we should know about the families or the communities and the overall impact of that drug or that medicine that is going to be used for any patient. So once we have identified the team, and then the roles and the responsibilities will be assigned, and then these team members, they should have the communication skills, they should have the work ethics so that they can collaborate very easily, and they should also have the capacity to resolve any conflict if it arises through their vision. So this is the overall composition of the teamwork. So IPE or interprofessional education is basically related to the teamwork. We need to develop the coordination, and now we will see how we can introduce at the institutional level. Next one, please.
So how IPE it can be introduced at institutional level? We know that universities are the research institutes, they are the mother institutes where we can actually create and we can sustain the IPE learning based activities by involving the students, because we know that students are the main workforce, and we can assign different duties, and students they can show their interest to get knowledge about different sort of professions rather than to stuck on single discipline. We know that nowadays we are working in the interdisciplinary or the multidisciplinary sort of academic disciplines, but this is above the interdisciplinary or the multidisciplinary roles, because it is related with different professions. So first we need to prepare the students, and then we identify the teamwork, and then we should assign their duties. Then we need to develop any IPE healthcare model or any model related to your field of interest. And then we need to design the learning based activities and also the research based activities. This is very important point, that this should be the research oriented training or the workshop that should be carried out by different professionals for the students at institutional level. What we are reading in the books, this should be practically implemented, and we should go through the research. And then we need to develop the extra layer of skills for the students that should be beyond the uni-professional sort of education. I mean, if we are studying just one discipline, then there is a need to develop the additional layer of skills, so that student they should know how they can go for the clinical settings and how they can go for the improvement of the health and the overall community betterment. And then we should plan and practice these implementation during the classroom and the clinical settings. Next, please. This is the IPE model. This is basically 3-stage learning model. First, we already know that we need to develop the program, and there is a need to go for the coordination of the program. One IPE program, it should be introduced at the institutional level, and then networking again and the collaboration, and then it should be applicable across the practical settings. Next. So this is the interprofessional teamwork. These are the 4 main parameters which actually define the roles of the teamwork. The first one is the relational. We should know the relationship or the interprofessional working relationship among the team members. And we should know the hierarchy of these team members. Either these are the faculty members, or the professionals, or the students, or the practitioners, or the patient, or the society, because we are saying that different group members or the team members, they will work within this team, and the team members, they should be in their own hierarchy, and we should know about their social behavior. And then we should go for the second parameter, that the procedural, the team members, they should have the skills to manage the time and to utilize the resources within the limited space. Like the question should arise in our mind, that how could it possible that the interprofessional education, it can be carried out at a single institute, because there may be a problem of space, that we can go for flipped sort of classroom, we can use the tutorial simulation method, or we can go different sort of online tutorial methods that can help the emergency situation, and we can also resolve different sort of tasks if they appear. And then a contextual main parameter that is related with the culture and the diversity. We know that we are dealing with different professionals. They are basically coming from diverse background. Someone is coming from the biology, someone is coming from the pure medical sciences, someone is coming from the sociology that can help you to check the impact of your medicine on the society, and maybe someone is coming from the IT section or the computer sciences that can give you several ideas that are based on IT. And then we should involve the parameter that is related with the organizational. How much your organization it can support for this interprofessional education. how much the space or how much the professional freedom it is involved. Next. Now, what is the difference between uni-professional and interprofessional education? Uni-professional education, basically it depends on just a single discipline area. The students, they basically study to solve out single topic or the single problem that, through the education or research. However, in the interprofessional education, we can go for the discipline areas with the broader perspective rather than to focus on a single problem or to focus on a single topic. So this effective interprofessional working relationship with the learners, practitioners, patients, clients, and the overall community, it is very much essential to be discussed in this IPE. Next. This is again the comparative IPE model. Already I told you that what's the difference between uni-professional and the interprofessional model. And at one stage there is a problem that maybe the dual identity or the dual competency, it will show the problem, but the students that are coming from the uni-professional background, they will give their input in the form of the teamwork. Every the professional, he or she will contribute equally, and they will prove their output in the form of the group, and this will overall improve the problem or the main goal of their IPE model. Okay, so next. So this is the same one. We can use different educational points. It includes the foundational education that is related with the anthropology or the sociology, and the graduate education that is linked with his or her main area, and then the continued professional development. So professional training is also there, and student, he or she is also studying his own particular area along with the other education area that is related with the other sciences that covers the sociology or the other sciences. And confounding factors that are linked with the professional culture, institutional culture, and the workplace policy. How much the institute it has its own policy, or how much the funding it can be provided for the introduction of this IPE program. And last, we need to check out the health and the system outcomes. Either the impact of this IPs or at the individual level, or we can go for it at the population level. Of course, our main interest to check the outcome of IPE at the population level. And then we should also focus on the cost effectiveness. Either your IPE model is cost effective, your client or your patients, they are getting cost effective benefits from that model or not. And last one, the learning outcomes. What is the reaction? What is the perception of the community? And what is the benefits, how the knowledge and skill it can contribute the individual behavior as well as the population behavior. Next. I think time is up and we can go to the conclusion. So, please last slide. So basically IPE is an integral feature with broader perspective where different professionals, they can come together for a common goal. No doubt the planning or the strategies or designing of IPE program is quite challenging. However, it is achievable through the learning activities. So the basic purpose to introduce the diverse sort of professional education at the institutional level so that we can get benefits for the community rather than at the individual level. Thank you very much.
Please accept my apologies for rushing you through it, but because of the time constraint, I'm bound to do that. It's a duty call. There is nothing personal. Our next presenter is Professor Dr. Iram Murtaza. She is the professor and chairperson and lady provost at Quaid-e-Azam University, Islamabad, Pakistan. She has done a PhD in molecular cell biology. She has done her postdoctorate. She has published more than 75 research papers She is a member of the European Society of Cardiology, European Respiratory Society, Euroscience, International Society for Heart Research, the Society of Hematologic Oncology, and the SOHO, Italy, World Economic Forum, UN, Biotechnology Section, South Asia, International Association of Therapeutic Drug Monitoring and Clinical Toxicology. I invite Professor Dr. Iram Murtaza to please come on stage and give us her talk about breaking boundaries, impact of translational research on cross-disciplinary healthcare. Ma'am, please. So I'll be just putting these things. I just have to turn on my timer.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. It's a PowerPoint file. So, Assalamu alaikum. Please go up slideshow pe liye. Turn on slideshow. Yes. So I'm going to skip the overlapping sections which we have get a lot of knowledge in our previous speaker sessions. So as a translational research, Dr. Sabura has mentioned earlier, so I'm going quite quickly. So I'm just trying to mention, because this is an era of complying with the SDGs. Definitely all of the stakeholders, including the academia and the medical sections, they're working to achieve the different SDGs, definitely in the case of the medical health. So just according to current conference theme, that is SDG 3. So basically what we have to go, because previously the different speakers they have mentioned, and also one of the speaker who is talking about the AI in the medical field. So the interdisciplinary research definitely not holds only the biomedicine and the medicine, but also, as Dr. Sobia also mentioned earlier, that the computer science, sociology, they must come in a framework to give the positive output. And today is the era of the frugal innovation, which not only we as a biologist, as a biomedicine holders, and also you as a clinicians, you must have to take care of in the future, to go for the such type of the SDGs which are going for the frugal innovations in the society. As mentioned earlier in one of the AI link expert, that the future is to give the reduced cost in all the fields, including your fields, which is definitely healthcare. So translational research I'm going to skip, as all mentioned by the Dr. Sabura. So bed to bedside, she had mentioned earlier. So as the cross-disciplinary research, which has been mentioned in certain topics earlier, that the different interdisciplinary fields, they need to come up to give the outcome to the humanity, to the societies. So definitely they are going to cross the different barriers in crossing that, because you all know, and we also as a biologist and the life medicine experts know, that we all are getting covered in a shell of our own. Clinicians on their own shells, life scientists in their own shell. So until unless we are not going to cross that barrier, we are not going to discuss, innovate, and bring the change to the society. So until then, we are not going to attain the sustainable development goals in the society. So the different ways that how to encourage the interdisciplinary programs by our policymakers, whether they are in the field of the academia or in your fields of clinical fields and clinical research. So definitely it requires certain resources, because clinicians, they found it hard to go towards the bench and to do the research. Definitely it needs much more resources, but industries are ready to give the support, and also the academia, where certain projects which are running in the field of the life sciences, they are definitely going to welcome the clinicians to have their research in their sectors. So just giving you a few glimpses that how interdisciplinary research, that some clinicians, they move away from them, and being our life scientists, they run away. But ultimately, we have to come to a single objective that is for the humanity. So just giving you examples that how the different cross-disciplines from the life sciences, from the social sciences, from the computer bioinformatics, and also from the clinical side, we can bring certain, you can say, positive change in the field of the life sciences and the health sciences. So these are just examples of the different risk factors which any scientists or the team of the clinicians want to think about them and want to work on them. So just a simple cell biology, just giving you an example, that first hypothesis that need to be put on, that okay, fine, that this disease involves this type of the mutation in the different genes or in the proteins. So this hypothesis, now how to go on with this hypothesis and lead towards the findings, which is definitely in your hand to translate to the society in the form of the treatment. So, for example, any cellular organelle or the gene which get, according to the hypothesis, get changed or the mutated. So it's the exosome, which maybe you all better know, that from the cell which get excreted at the time, for example, of the different disease condition, different pathology conditions. And just any inhibitor which is get designed by the chemist, it's synthesized by the chemist. So they can better understand that this ligand can bind to any mutated or the, you can say, pathologically affected protein. So how frugally innovate such type of the research means by giving much more resources. Here it comes the artificial intelligence and the bioinformatics tool I'm later on going to mention. That, okay, the drug being designed, now, okay, let's check it on your computer screen, that whether it is going to bind to a specific target or not. So here, not only the life scientists, not the clinicians, but the bioinformation experts, they can give you the clue without involving any direct injection of that drug into the human or in the animal experimental body. So this type of the interdisciplinary research from the breaking the boundary of the chemistry, life sciences, and the medical sciences can bring certain innovations. I'm just giving you certain examples of the in vitro assembly of results. So skipping quite. So not only the chemical synthesis, in vitro, and then the exosomes, in fact, how in real time with the help of the physics can our scientists, they can get to know. So these are all the published data from our group that I am going to mention you. So, and then the environment chemistry. It also definitely in the future SDGs, which are linking with the environmental science impact on the health sciences. So we cannot, you can say, remove any of them from our screen in the health sciences. The different environmental impacts on the neuroinflammations, on the cardiac toxicities. So that's the frugal innovations, which are, as I mentioned earlier, through the artificial intelligence, through the reduced, you can say, resources, we can propose certain hypotheses and also the research results which can lead to the not only the early screening of the different diseases, but also the specified drug designing, which definitely will be helpful in the future. So that's all from my side. I'm just, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Murtaza, for your valuable presentation. Our next presenter is our chairman for today's session, Professor Dr. Saeed Farooq, who is going to give his talk on cross-disciplinary research in healthcare from experts in science to experts by experience. I request Professor Dr. Saeed to please come on stage and deliver his talk. Please, sir.
Okay, thank you. I think my previous speakers, thank you, you have made my job easier. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take you through a brief journey of how cross-disciplinary research is done and what are the principles or how cross-disciplinary research can be promoted in Pakistan. I'm going to give few examples from my own work. Hopefully the presentation should come. So, yes, okay. So, I'm going to elaborate how, you have heard and you are hearing from experts in science, and I'm going to stress also how we can involve and engage, because when we say cross-disciplinary, it should not be limited just to experts by science, that's you and me, but also experts by experience, that is patients and carers. And so when I first had the invitation for this conference, why is not, it's not, yeah. So why cross-disciplinary research, what makes effective collaborations, and how cross-disciplinary research can be done for implementing evidence-based practice, and how we can involve patients and carers, who I say experts by experience, in our research. That is going to be the some few things which I'm going to cover in the presentation today. Why is okay. So this is the Keele University, largest campus university in UK, where I have been professor now for almost 3 years, and I started from Lady Reading Hospital, and that is where I don't know why this, is that a better way to, okay. So I think इससे पीछे पहले पे जाएं क्योंकि ये आगे आ गए. So this is the, so I think the slide which I was going to show was this is the collaborated basic medical research, and this I wrote in 2006 while I was an assistant professor at Lady Reading Hospital. The time which I value most in my career, that is the period I think about where I feel I had the most productive years of my life working as assistant professor, associate, and then head of department of psychiatry. And in 2006, I wrote this in JCPSP, Journal of College of Physicians and Surgeons, and I advocated, and this is something I've been believing all along, that almost all our research, especially in healthcare sciences, has been very much focused and has been very much confined in small tertiary care units. So there are people working in pulmonology unit writing about tuberculosis, there are people working in psychiatry department writing about depression and schizophrenia, but there's very little in terms of the research, and there's very little in terms of collaboration with the basic biomedical sciences and the other disciplines. And when I was working, I think one thing I pride myself is that I was coming to, at that time, I have published papers working with the pharmacy department, working with the biochemical sciences department of the Peshawar University statistics department. So you have to go out and seek for collaboration. So and I'm glad to see that things are now coming up, and this was a model I proposed some time back about collaborative care for depression. Depression, by the way, I think people don't realize, is the disease which has the second highest disease burden worldwide. And in countries like Pakistan, depression is, I don't need to tell you that, you know, it's not properly treated and not properly managed. And at that time, I proposed that the number of, in considering the number of trained professionals in Pakistan and in low and middle income countries, what we need to do is we need to develop a collaborated care model where you can target depression in physical disorders. So in this model, I proposed that depression in, if only we are able to target and treat the depression in two physical disorders, that is hypertension and diabetes, we can target the treatment of the three most disabling disorders, that is diabetes, hypertension, and depression together. So that also means that we need the collaborated care. But what is the most important thing is that in the healthcare now, it's the multimorbidity. Increasingly, you very rarely see one disorder occurring on its own. So most of the time you are seeing the disorders occurring together, and the rates of multimorbidity is increasing with the age as well as even in developing countries. So that also necessitates that you need to have the collaborated care on the collaboration across the disciplines. So basically, multimorbidity requires a horizontal approach working across the disciplines, and that also, what I want to stress very much is that it's not only working across the disciplines between the biomedical sciences like biology, medical fields, radiology. It also requires working across the social sciences, anthropology, and the other disciplines. And that brings me to learning from other disciplines. This is the largest trial we have just finished now, and it's an example of how we actually develop the approaches from other disciplines. When I was working in Lady Reading Hospital, just across my department was the chest department, Professor Arshad Javed and later Professor Mukhtar Zaman, who is sitting here, and I've learned quite a lot from them. And one of the treatment approach they used was the DOTS, directly observed treatment for improving the treatment adherence in tuberculosis. When I saw that approach, I asked the question, who needs DOTS? People with schizophrenia or people with tuberculosis? Because that is where the treatment compliance is the most compromised. So we developed the whole DOTS approach, translated the whole DOTS approach into schizophrenia, did the first randomized control trial in 2011 while I was 2006, published actually in 2011. That was done in LRH, and that became so well established that the MRC funded my next trial, which had a sample size of 526. We have just finished the trial and we are now writing the results. So that is an example of how you can develop and learn from the cross disciplines and the cross interdisciplinary approach. The next thing, which I think is the need of the hour, is the implementation. The implementation science in itself has become a well-established discipline, and there are journals. There's a specific journal called Implementation Science. You can Google it, and in fact, there are now quite a few journals which just focus on implementing the healthcare findings. I think it's now well established in science that we know a lot, but it is not implemented properly. And for implementing the basic or the clinical findings in real world life, you need behavior change, you need engagement of the stakeholders for implementing your findings, and that also requires the working across the disciplines. And I will demonstrate how it is done. But before I go there, what I learned from experience of almost, I would say, about 2.5 decades of research is what you need for collaboration is what I call humor. That is humility, first of all, understanding that you don't know everything, understanding your own limitations, you know, how far your discipline can solve the problem and working across the disciplines, making compatible connections where you can work with other disciplines, and very important, organizational understanding. You cannot expect something from you know, an organization which is just delivering and working in basic medical sciences, and you need to understand where you need to go for your need. And then also, I think, especially for younger scientists, I call what I say is understanding and ability to say no. You know, when you are collaborating, there's a very much tendency to accept everything. And finally, respect across the disciplines. Respecting everyone's discipline and everyone's view. And that is what I have tried to highlight over here. Especially, I think this is a big problem with us doctors, that we believe that we know everything. So this is the Adam who did the you know, PhD in philosophy, and he feels that he has done, he knows everything, and he's not working. And then this is the Chris who has done apprenticeship and has earns 800K annually, and finally he disconnected Adam's electricity because he is not working. So basically, it's not only just because you have earned a degree doesn't mean that you need to you know everything. So it's not only understanding your limitations, but also respecting the views. And that brings to my next point. It's respecting the views of those who you feel are the patients and the carers. And this is an example of what I say involving the carers and the patients. This is a study protocol of our most recent study. And what I have highlighted is the people who are working in this. This is a protocol to develop a prediction tool for treatment-resistant schizophrenia. And you can see the people who are working across the disciplines. There are psychiatrists, there are biostatisticians, there are psychologists, and there are, you know, even, and the one I have highlighted, David Shears, he is the person whose daughter is suffering from schizophrenia. He was the part of our team, and he is amongst the co-authors, not only in this protocol, but the final study we are going to publish soon. So we have involved the patients and carers in all our research. This is again important study. One of the largest study. In fact, it's going to be the largest clinical trial of treatment of depression and tuberculosis, where I take the pride that we have involved the community and the service users. These are the people who are working across the communities in different disciplines, and we have not only involved the patients and carers, but beyond that, we have gone to the community. In this picture, you can see I'm working and sitting. When I come in Pakistan, actually I work between Pakistan and UK. I'm going to all these meetings, sitting with people. This is I'm sitting with the Afghan refugees in Haripur, we're understanding their perspective, how we can develop an intervention for treatment of depression and tuberculosis. Beyond that, and this is a good example, and I feel very proud in this, that we have recruited 5 PhD students under control program who are registered in Keele University in UK, based in Pakistan, fully funded, stipend paid, everything. And one of them is pharmacist, one of them is psychologist, one of them is veterinary sciences qualified person, and one of them is the public health professional. So they are all multidisciplinary, coming from 5 different disciplines, and they are all working in public mental health. So this is what I mean, that when you have to address the implementation and the real life problems, you have to work not only across the discipline, but also respect other disciplines and give them their due and understand that. And in the last few slides, I will show you another example of our work, not only working with the stakeholders. This is the traditional healer study, medical research council funded study, and where we are working with the traditional healers, because first episode psychosis, schizophrenia, which occurs in young persons, on average take 2.5 years to have any psychiatric treatment. And the longest delay is taken because they go to the traditional healers. So we developed a model of working with the traditional healers, and this week you can see I'm working and sitting with the traditional healers. I'm sitting on Charsada Road with a traditional healer, visiting their site, trying to understand what they do, how we can work with the traditional healers to improve. And I'm very glad to say my team, Ashfaq, and they are sitting over here, who have been working with the traditional healers, and we have successfully engaged and involved the traditional healers. And this study is, as I'm speaking today, the trial will be completed on 30th of April, and this will be the first of its kind randomized controlled trial where we developed an intervention for working with the traditional healers, engaging them and understanding their viewpoint of how we can detect schizophrenia at the earliest. Schizophrenia, perhaps not many people would know, is the most severe form of mental illness, and it hits the median age of onset is 22 years. It hits the persons in the most productive years of life. And we have developed this intervention, and we'll be finishing this trial on 30th of April, and then this will be leading to developing another model of engaging the traditional healers and the community. So in conclusion, what I would like to say is that the cross-disciplinary research in healthcare is essential, especially in lower income countries like Pakistan, where we are facing multitude of health problems, and we have to work across the discipline for combating the multimorbidity, as well as implementing our research findings. We must not collaborate only with experts in the science, that is what we are sitting here, but also experts by experience. Those people who experience the illness, those people who experience providing the care for the people with illness. And they, sometimes people joke that, the people go, and I think you might have seen this on the social media as well, that a person goes to a doctor, and he tells him symptoms from what he has learned from the Google, and he says that you don't equate your Google experience with my 5 years of degree, and the patient says that you don't equate your experience of 2 lectures and 2 clinical wards with my living of this condition for 20 years. So the patients they provide a very unique. Frankly, when I started doing this about 10 years back, I was very skeptical, like any other doctor, what I will learn from the patients and the carers. But I must say that they do provide a very unique perspective, so we need to involve them at every stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Farooq, for your valuable input and a wonderful presentation. This brings us to the end of the plenary sessions. We still have time, 5-6 minutes, and I would request the audience, if you have any questions for any of the presenters, now is your time. So anyone who would like to ask any of the presenters a question, we will bring the mic to you. Yes? So we have one question in the second last row. Could you please take the mic to second last row? Second last row.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Gohar Rahman and currently I am graduated as a Bachelorate of Nursing from Rahman College of Nursing. میرا کوشچن یہ ہے کہ ہم ہر دفعہ جو ہے کولیبریشن کی بات کرتے ہیں, انٹر ڈسپلنری ریسرچ کی بات کرتے ہیں, لیکن اگر اس بات کو ہم پریکٹیکلی دیکھیں تو انٹر ڈسپلنری کام یہاں پہ نہیں ہوتا, کیونکہ اگر نرسز وہ ریسرچ کرنا چاہے ود ڈاکٹرز, سو they are not willing, the doctors are not willing to do research with nursing in Pakistan. سو کیا ہم اس چیز کو فروغ دے سکتے ہیں کہ نرسز جو ہے وہ ڈاکٹرز کے ساتھ یا دوسرے ڈپارٹمنٹ کے ساتھ جو ہے وہ ریسرچ کر سکے, کیونکہ باقی سب جو عہدے ہیں یا وہ چیزیں ہیں ان کو ایوائڈ کر کے ہم ایک پلیٹ فارم پہ آ کے جو پیشنٹ کی کیئر ہے ان کو انہانس کر سکیں. تھینک یو.
تھینک یو. I would like to respond to that question. سب سے پہلے تو میں آپ کا شکریہ کروں گا کہ آپ نے اردو میں بات کی ہے. آئی تھنک جو ہمارا کولیبریشن میں سب سے بڑا بیریئر ہے وہ انگلش ہی ہے, اینڈ آئی وش آئی ہیڈ ڈن مائی پریزنٹیشن ان اردو, لیکن آئی پریفر ٹو ڈو دیٹ. تو دیٹ از دی فرسٹ تھنگ کہ آئی تھنک جو ہماری کمیونیکیشن ہے اکراس دا ڈسپلنز وہ ہم نے امپروو کرنی ہے, اینڈ آئی کمپلیٹلی ایگری ود یو. فار می پرسنلی if a research proposal comes where I do not see participants in the research proposal across 2-3 disciplines, I wouldn't believe that this is a good proposal. تو میں صرف یہ ریکویسٹ کر سکتا ہوں جو ہماری ایتھکس باڈیز ہیں جو کہ ریسرچ پروپوزلس کی وہ دیتے ہیں, اپروول دیتی ہیں, جو ہماری فنڈنگ باڈیز ہیں, چھوٹی فنڈنگز ہیں, آپ آر ایم آئی میں چھوٹی چھوٹی فنڈنگز ڈیولپ کریں جو لوگوں کو گڈ پریکٹس پہ انکریج کریں. دے شوڈ سی کہ آپ کے پاس, کیونکہ یہ جو موجودہ جو پریزنٹ ہیلتھ کیئر سسٹم ہے اس کا جو پرابلمز ہیں ان کو میں ایز اے سائیکیٹرسٹ, ایز اے فزیشین مختار زمان, ایز اے پلمونالوجسٹ نہیں ایڈریس کر سکتے. سو if you have the funding bodies, so I completely endorse that, and I would say I'm seeing the most influential persons sitting here in the audience, and I would request them کہ جب بھی ریسرچ پروپوزلز ان کے پاس آئیں تو کم از کم وہ یہ دیکھیں کہ اکراس دا ڈسپلنس اس میں نرسنگ ریپریزنٹیشن ہے, اس میں لیبارٹری کی ریپریزنٹیشن ہے, آپ ٹی بی کی بات کر رہے ہیں اس میں کہاں پہ ٹی بی کی, اور جسٹ لاسٹ بات آتھرشپ, میں اس پہ بہت زیادہ آئی وڈنٹ کمپرومائز کہ آپ کے جونیئر لوگ جو کہ آپ کے ساتھ ریسرچ کرتے ہیں ہاؤ مچ دے آر ریپریزنٹیڈ اٹ ان آتھرشپ. تو بالکل پاسبل ہے اور ہونا چاہیے, اینڈ آئی ایم کوائٹ آپٹیمسٹک. تھنگس آر چینجنگ, امپروو ہو رہی ہیں, بٹ دا پیس آف چینج شوڈ بی مچ بیٹر دین دس.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm afraid due to time constraints, we have to limit our questions. I thank you all the presenters, and you have been a wonderful audience. Thank you very much.
I thank all of you on behalf of ICHR 24 and Rahman Medical Institute. I now request Chairman RMI, Professor Dr. Muhammad Rahman, and CEO RMI, Mr. Shafiqur Rahman, to join us on stage and appreciate the speakers, chairs, co-chair, and moderator. Please join us on stage. I'll begin with the speakers. I'd like to call up Dr. Sabura Waris. Please join us on stage. Next, I'd like to call up Dr. Iram Murtaza, speaker. Dr. Sobia Tabassum, Speaker and Co-Chair. Professor Dr. Saeed Farooq, Speaker and Chair. Lastly, I'd like to call up the moderator of the session, Dr. Marukh Ikram Shah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I request all of you to join us outside in the lobby and boardroom for the tea break.
Hello, dear friends and colleagues.
सबसे पहले तो मैं प्रोफेसर मोहम्मद रहमान साहब का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि उन्होंने जो इतनी बड़ी पब्लिक सर्विस एक रहमान इंस्टीट्यूट बनाकर मेडिकल कॉलेज और डेंटल कॉलेज बनाकर बहुत बड़ी पब्लिक सर्विस की है। तो मैं यकीनन आपने अपने माशरे को वापस लौटाने की कोशिश की है जो इस माशरे ने दिया, और आप जैसे लोगों के आइडियाज़ जो है ना वो इस नई पौध के अंदर आना चाहिए, क्योंकि एक तो आम तरीक़ा है माशरे को वापस करने का, वो तरीक़ा ये है कि मैं अपनी मेहनत करूँगा, अपनी रोज़ी भी कमाऊँगा और अपने इल्म का फ़ायदा उठाऊँगा। और एक ये है कि आपको उससे ज़्यादा एहसास हो अपने दिल के अंदर कि जिस माशरे के अंदर ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है कार खैर की, और कार खैर हर किस्म का हो सकता है, सिर्फ माल और दौलत का कार खैर नहीं बल्कि इल्म का कार खैर भी हो सकता है। سے پہلے تو میں پروفیسر محمد رحمان صاحب کا شکریہ ادا کرتا ہوں کہ انہوں نے جو اتنی بڑی پبلک سروس ایک رحمان انسٹیٹیوٹ بنا کر میڈیکل کالج اور ڈینٹل کالج بنا کر بہت بڑی پبلک سروس کی ہے. تو میں یقیناً آپ نے اپنے معاشرے کو واپس لوٹانے کی کوشش کی ہے جو اس معاشرے نے دیا. اور آپ جیسے لوگوں کے آئیڈیاز جو ہے نا وہ اس نئی پود کے اندر آنا چاہیے, کیونکہ ایک تو عام طریقہ ہے معاشرے کو واپس کرنے کا, وہ طریقہ یہ ہے کہ میں اپنی محنت کروں گا, اپنی روزی بھی کماؤں گا اور اپنے علم کا فائدہ اٹھاؤں گا. اور ایک یہ ہے کہ آپ کو اس سے زیادہ احساس ہو اپنے دل کے اندر کہ جس معاشرے کے اندر زیادہ ضرورت ہے کار خیر کی, اور کار خیر ہر قسم کا ہو سکتا ہے, صرف مال و دولت کا کار خیر نہیں بلکہ علم کا کار خیر بھی ہو سکتا ہے. सबसे पहले तो मैं प्रोफेसर मोहम्मद रहमान साहब का शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि उन्होंने जो इतनी बड़ी पब्लिक सर्विस एक रहमान इंस्टीट्यूट बनाकर मेडिकल कॉलेज और डेंटल कॉलेज बनाकर बहुत बड़ी पब्लिक सर्विस की है, तो मैं यकीनन आपने अपने माशरे को वापस लौटा जो इस माशरे ने दिया। नई पौध के अंदर आना चाहिए, क्योंकि एक तो आम तरीक़ा है माशरे को वापस करने का, वो तरीक़ा ये है कि मैं अपनी मेहनत करूँगा, अपनी रोज़ी भी कमाऊँगा और अपने इल्म का फ़ायदा उठाऊँगा। और एक ये है कि आपको उससे ज़्यादा एहसास हो अपने दिल के अंदर कि जिस माशरे के अंदर ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है कार खैर की, और कार खैर हर किस्म का हो सकता है, सिर्फ माल और दौलत का कार खैर नहीं बल्कि इल्म का कार खैर भी हो सकता है।
Our chief guest has arrived. I would like to invite the chief guest to the stage, please. Dr. Rahman, Shafiqur Rahman, Dr. Ghulam Rasool, and Dr. Asir. Please join him on stage. Assalamu alaikum and good morning, esteemed guest and distinguished participant. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to the closing ceremony of ICHR 24, a pioneering event in the realm of healthcare exploration and innovation. This conference, the second of its kind, is a commitment and dedication to healthcare and advancing research and knowledge in the field of health sciences.
As the hosts for today's event, and representatives of Rahman College of Dentistry and Rahman Medical Institute, I, Dr. Mashal Zebjan,
and I, Dr. Uzma Khali,
are honored to be able to embody our institution's unwavering commitment to fostering a culture of research excellence. At RCD and RMI, research is not just a pursuit, it is a cornerstone of our educational philosophy, driving innovation and transformation in the healthcare landscape. To formally open the event, I would request you all to kindly rise for the national anthem.
To formally begin the event, we would like to start with the recitation of the Holy Quran.
For this, I would like to request Dr. Hafiz Abdul Ghafoor, a renowned religious scholar and professor, currently serving as the chairman of Department of Seerah Studies and director of Staff Training Institute at Peshawar University.
Dr. Ghafoor has published numerous research papers, presenting them at national and international conferences. Currently, he holds the position of head of the Department of Islamiyat and Pakistan Studies at Rahman Medical College.
Dr. Ghafoor, please join us on stage.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إن جاءكم فاسق بنبأ فتبينوا أن تصيبوا قوما بجهالة فتصبحوا على ما فعلتم نادمين. ارشاد باری ہے، اے ایمان والو، اگر تمہیں کوئی فاسق خبر دے تو تم اس کی اچھی طرح تحقیق کر لیا کرو، ایسا نہ ہو کہ نادانی میں کسی قوم کو ایذا پہنچا دو اور پھر اپنے کیے پر پیشیمانی اٹھاؤ. نبی کریم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم ہر نماز کے بعد اپنی صحت کاملہ کے حوالے سے یہ دعا مانگا کرتے تھے، اللہم انی اسألک صحة فی ایمان و ایمانا فی حسن خلق ونجاحا یتبعہ فلاحا ورحمة ورضوانا وعافیة ومغفرة منک ورضوانا. اے اللہ، میں تجھ سے صحت کا طالب ہوں ایمان کے ساتھ، اور ایمان کا طالب ہوں حسن خلق کے ساتھ. میں ایسی کامیابی کا طلبگار ہوں جس کے بعد فلاح نصیب ہو، اور تیری رحمت کا طلبگار ہوں، اور تجھ سے صحت، عافیت، مغفرت اور رضامندی کا سوال کرتا ہوں. سبحان ربک رب العزت عما یصفون وسلام علی المرسلین والحمد للہ رب العالمین.
Jazakallah. Introducing the patron of ICHR and principal of Rahman College of Dentistry, Professor Dr. Ghulam Rasool, who started his clinical services in 2002 in RMI and played a vital role in establishment of Rahman College of Dentistry.
He not only served as a principal and dean Khyber College of Dentistry, but also remained the president of Pakistan Association of Orthodontics twice, working in different capacities in Khyber Medical University and Pakistan Medical and Dental Council.
Currently, he is a member of the National Medical and Dental Academic Board in PMDC. He is also Dean Faculty of Orthodontics in College of Physicians and Surgeons, Pakistan.
He has more than 70 research publications and has remained an editor to Indexed Research Journal. He has organized several national and international conferences. At present, serving
as the principal of Rahman College of Dentistry, he is a true mentor in the field of research and education. He is chief editor and pioneer of our very first journal, JRCD. He is also an architect of a 6-month certificate course in health research, CHR.
I'd like to call up on stage Professor Dr. Ghulam Rasool for an introductory speech.
اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. Honorable Chief Guest, Chairman Higher Education Commission, Patron-in-Chief and Chairman, Rahman Medical Institution, Professor Dr. Rahman, CEO, Rahman Medical Institution, Muhammad Shafiqur Rahman, Organizer, Chairman of the conference, Professor Dr. Nasir Ahmed, Professor Dr. Jan Bakht, Vice Chancellor, Agriculture University, respected principals, deans, directors, senior faculty, my dear student, Assalamu alaikum. This is a proud moment for me to be here in this August occasion to at the conclusion ceremony of this second International Conference of Research. Sir, Rahman Medical Institution and all the RMI education colleges, they are committed to excellence both in education and research. And today event is the evidence that this is the second international conference being organized by RMI Education. Last year, the first international conference was heavily participated by more than 600 registered participants and dozens of scholars and researchers from across the country and abroad. Well-attended conference, and then we are confident we organized this second conference, and this time we were challenged by seeing the enthusiasm of the people that, sir, before this starting the conference, 1 month before, we got 803 registration, and the people were rushing at the last day, and we had to close the registration because the people got confidence in our commitment, in our contribution to the research. And believe me, sir, the people not only from KPK, from the whole Pakistan, and majority from Karachi, they got registered, and about 70 participants from abroad are registered. We have in this conference, Rahman Medical Institution has extended its greater cooperation to the underdeveloped countries as well. We had an MOU with Salam University, which is one of the prestigious universities in Somalia, and we offered them to come forward, and we offered them free registration, and 50 participants from Somalia participated with us this conference. Sir, we got 21 abstract for the posters, and oral presentation abstract from abroad, Indonesia, from Iraq, from Iran, Somalia, and Qatar. And they equally participated with us. This was a hybrid conference, and online they equally participated with us. Without paying a single penny of registration, we offered them, sir, this conference, I want to update you. This is the continuation of our research activity. In 2022, we started a 6-month certificate course in health research. well-structured 6 modules, and we have a strong collaboration and MOU with Aga Khan University for the health research. We successfully completed 6 batches in 2023, and they were awarded 6-month certificate in 2023 International Conference. And this year, we completed 4 batches, and those batches are under progress. And yesterday we awarded 6-month certificate course in health research to 120 students. This is a big achievement of RMI education. Sir, I claim that RMI education is important in health research even more than universities. And we have attracted participation for the health research course from across the country and from across the professions and in different position from professor to demonstrator. We have trained till now 290 trainers in the health research, and we are committed, sir. We will be continuing our efforts to extend our intellectual property to the whole community. And sir, this is one of the unique courses that even the nurses, allied health science faculties, rehabilitation people, and from the different medical subspecialties and dental specialties are participating in this course. Sir, you will be surprised that we are charging minimum fee for this course, only 5,000 per session. But even then, I'm proud to say that we have offered to the deserving student, and we have granted around 1 million scholarship to these candidates. We have our own scholarship policy and committee. Transparently, every batch, the deserving student, we are extending this scholarship to the deserving candidate. Sir, even in this conference, we have a scholarship policy. We have extended our discount to the workshop attendee and to the conference attendee as well. We had a special discount for the student, and that is where the people rushed to join us. A little bit about the conference. The conference was not a conventional plenary session. We had keynote speaker. We had panel discussion of expertise from across the country. We had poster presentation. We received 120 posters from across the country and abroad. We had oral presentation, rapid fire presentation. It was very difficult to manage these things and to respect all the participants, but we did manage in this campus, day and night, all the 3 days. We have been here from 9 to 6:30, non-stop activities. All of the participants are the witness. And yesterday, I am surprised, and a day before yesterday, even at 6:30, the halls were full of participants, heavy participation in this conference. I really appreciate the motivation of the participant in research. Sir, some unique things we arranged. The Science Cafe and networking for the student and postgraduate student with the mentors. It was heavily participated by the student. And undergraduate and postgraduate corner. Surprisingly, the student performed very well in the undergraduate corner. Plenary session, and yesterday there was a quiz competition heavily participated from all the institutions in the province. Very healthy competition. And sir, this time, in order to encourage the RMI fraternity, we announced a Best Researcher Award, and in international criteria, we received the application, and we constituted a jury from outside the RMI. And that was a very healthy activity, and today I see so many aspirants will be waiting for this Best Graduate Award, and I hope next year there will be a long list of competitors in this award. In order to encourage this research amongst the fraternity of RMI education. And sir, surprisingly, people from the allied health sciences also competed in this competition, which is at the end, I will appreciate all the efforts of the organizer of this conference, and I hope that we will continue with such spirit and motivation. Special thanks to all the Aga Khan faculty. They have come a long way and spent a long week, not weekend, the full week they spent with us. And not only on campus, they have extended their activity in Khyber Girls Medical College, in PG Mai, in LRH. They have a wonderful workshop, and the people have demanded now that they should stay with us and extend these workshops after conference as well. At the end, by virtue of authority and power invested in me as a patron and Principal Rahman College of Dentistry, I hereby announce the third international conference to be held on 25th of April, 25th to 27th of April 2025. Inshallah. And I expect more than this participation, and that is why I announced 1 year before that we have to get preparation for 1,000 participants, although very difficult, but we will make it possible. Thank you all. Best wishes. Amen.
Thank you, sir. ICHR 2024 is not just a conference, it is a catalyst for positive change in the realm of health research. By bringing together the brightest minds and fostering collaboration across disciplines, we aim to pave the way for a brighter, healthier future for all.
The past week has been an ideal fusion of innovative mind-melding sessions, which were both diverse and innovative. and they consisted of pre-conference workshops, research cafe, quiz competition, poster competition, plenary sessions, and panel discussions. We're hoping for a bigger, better, and brighter event next year.
On that note, we would move forward to welcome the visionary leader of our organization, our CEO, Mr. Shafiqur Rahman. Sir, if you could please join us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, Honorable Chief Guest, Chairman HEC, thank you very much for sparing time and joining us. Respected faculty members, delegates from all over, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. It's indeed a pleasure to witness another ICHR and such a successful conference. And as always, whenever we have guests from outside, I take the opportunity to share a bit of the story of RMI, and I think that's what I'm going to do once again. The story of RMI begins back in 1991 when Hyderabad was a newly established township, very little residents here, it was empty plots of land. I remember playing cricket in these grounds and learning how to drive over here as well. There wasn't much here at all. And at the time, healthcare in KP really lagged behind the rest of the country. Patients had to travel to Karachi, Lahore, other centers, and even abroad to avail services which were commonplace there, but not available here in KP. And looking at this need, it is our founder chairman, who is an eminent and a pioneer cardiac surgeon who served in Karachi for a long time, decided that it was time to give back. It was time to go back and do something for his home province and provide them the services that this province deserved and needed. Even then in the 90s, there were a lot of skeptics. They kept asking him, why not Karachi? Why not Lahore? Why not elsewhere? And his answer was always, why not Peshawar? This province and this city needs it more than any other place. Because it was not driven by any financial feasibility which offered the maximum return. It was all fueled by a desire to give back and a desire to give the people of this region services and access to facilities that they were lacking at the time. So in the first decade when RMI commenced operations, and I'm delighted to see our founding CEO, Dr. Tanveer Abdullah Sahab, and he would recall that our first tagline or slogan was setting new standards in healthcare. And that's what the first decade of RMI largely looked like. It was all about setting a new standard of healthcare that was not seen here before. And what we're particularly proud of is the new healthcare model that we give this province, that so many other institutions, both in the private and the public sector, have since emulated, and we see this all the time. And it really gives us a lot of pride to see that our contribution extends beyond just this campus or these premises, but the wider healthcare ecosystem. We're also very proud of the fact that many of these institutions here in KP and all over the country are now managed and staffed by RMI alumni being the individuals who've served in RMI in various capacities in the past. So what started as a very small hospital focusing on cardiology and cardiac surgery rapidly grew by the grace of the Almighty. And over the years, we've expanded into renal transplants. We've got one of the most successful renal transplant programs in Pakistan, alhamdulillah. We've got interventional radiology, a center for reproductive medicine, and a host of other facilities, both in the diagnostic and the therapeutic sphere. So that's what the first decade for RMI looked like. And very soon we realized that a healthcare facility is more than a brick and mortar facility. It's more than this biomedical equipment and nice infrastructure. Healthcare can only be delivered through high quality HR, and that is what our province was lacking back then. So the next decade, and the story of RMI can largely be broken down into decade 1, decade 2, and what we have right now is the third decade. So the second decade was all about capacity building and producing high quality healthcare workers, not just for our own institution, but for the wider community here in the province and really for the world. The Rahman College of Nursing was the first of 5 colleges that we've established since then, and a number of postgrad programs in a variety of disciplines ranging from cardiac surgery, cardiology, neurosurgery, gynecology, pediatrics, and so on. The undergrad programs that we started, starting with the College of Nursing, went on to expand into the Rahman Medical College, the Rahman College of Allied Health Sciences, the Rahman College of Rehabilitation Sciences, and finally the Rahman College of Dentistry, who are the proud hosts of this conference. So the high quality AHR that we have been producing over the years are serving not all over Hayatabad or Peshawar, but we're so proud to see them now serving in leading institutions all over the world. Moving on, I'd like to touch upon the importance of clusters and economic clusters. And this is a very established concept that has been seen globally in so many areas. You know, it helps cities and nations build critical mass in specific areas of economic development. And we've seen examples, whether it's Shenzhen in China being the technology and the electronics powerhouse, producing almost all the gadgets that you now carry in your pockets, to Silicon Valley with all its IT-based startups, to Boston, Silicon Valley, and looking at the example of Boston with all its biotech industry over there, or the fashion district in Milan. It's always clusters or economic clusters that deliver maximum value. Hayatabad Phase 5, this 1 square kilometer that you see over here, now hosts 7 of the 10 largest healthcare facilities of this province, and not just private, I'm saying private and public, which arguably makes this the densest healthcare cluster of Pakistan right now. And just think about that for a moment. This offers immense opportunities for medical tourism, you know, not just Afghanistan, but the Central Asian states and of course the expat population, all of the Middle East. But other than medical tourism, which we've witnessed over the years, I think it also offers us an amazing study population for research and clinical trials, looking at the wide variety of patients that are here, looking at the concentration of clinical expertise that we see over here. And I think that's the area that we need to focus on. Whether this planned medical city was planned or organic is an argument that I'll leave for another day. But let's just focus on the opportunity and the need for all of these providers here to increase their collaboration and to leverage what is a really unique opportunity that presents itself not just for Peshawar but for Pakistan in order to develop what could very well be the next emerging biomedical city for this region. Moving on to the third decade, and that's where we are right now, and this trajectory, by the way, was spelt out by a founder chairman as early as 1991 and 92 in our Articles of Association, and where he spelt out the journey that we'll be taking. And now we're in the third decade, which, alhamdulillah, is all about research and innovation. So the tagline now is setting new standards in research and innovation. And in addition to all the highly rated journals that we are publishing from time to time, all the wonderful training workshops that Dr. Saab just mentioned, we've had hackathons and we've had amazing conferences such as the ICHR right now. We're also very proud of a lab that we are hosting here on campus in collaboration with an eminent university also here in Hayatabad, which is the CICOS University of Science and Technology. And so you'll be pleased to know that this lab happens to be an affiliate of the HEC and the Planning Commission funded National Center for Big Data and Cloud Computing. And in the last 6 years, this precision medicine lab has been working on big data in healthcare. And one of the projects that it's really focused on has been an oral cancer project, which is expected to complete in the near future. And I mentioned this, and I would like to appreciate the contribution of the Higher Education Commission in recognizing the importance of life sciences. Life sciences is known to be the next big wave of technology. Some would say the next ChatGPT is going to come out of life sciences. And just to give you a scale of the opportunity that this sector presents, biology globally, according to some estimates, is worth $30 trillion. Just imagine the potential that this industry holds globally. So over the last 6 years in this oral cancer project that has been carried out over here, the second most prevalent cancer in Pakistan happens to be oral cancer, and that's what's been studied over here using cutting-edge techniques of genomics, metagenomics, and cell culture models. We've got some amazing results that we can't wait to publish in the near future once the study closes. And we're also very proud to have what, inshallah, will soon be one of the largest histopathology data set of local cancer patients in Pakistan. I'd invite all of you, and you, sir, after lunch, hopefully, to spare some time and join us for a brief visit of the lab so that we can showcase some of the things that we're doing over here. And now I'd like to briefly touch upon some of the challenges that we're confronted with in Pakistan. And I'll just throw in some statistics which might seem very random, but I'll try to connect the dots in a moment. So among the challenges that we face, I mean, we've all heard about the $3 billion IMF program, and I was reading in the news a couple of months ago that we are finally delighted that $1 billion of that total amount was approved, averting a default for the country. And this just tells us how vulnerable this country right now is, unfortunately. Just remember that figure. There's another study reveals that by 2030, there's expected to be a global shortage of around 18 million healthcare workers all over the world. The USA alone right now has a shortage of 200,000 nurses. And remember that the West, you've got a population that is in negative growth. There's not enough growth. There's an aging population, which is very different to what we see in our country, where 2/3 of our population is under the age of 30. And may I also remind you that in just the medical and dental education alone, of the 21,000 seats that exist right now in Pakistan, 11,000 happen to be in the private sector. And despite the best of efforts of all the stakeholders, if you just look at statistics historically, the contribution towards education as a percentage of our GDP has always largely remained under 3%, hovering around 2.5% as per the statistic I saw. So these are just some of the areas that I want you to bear in mind. But again, in every challenge, with every challenge, there's an opportunity. And there are opportunities here as well. And I'll just touch upon a few of them. And I must acknowledge that some of these statistics I've borrowed from a research paper that was published by a think tank some time back in Pakistan. So we've seen numerous countries which attract a lot of foreign students coming into that country, UK being one example of where I was trained in, and so many other countries which have developed higher education as an industry and as a sector, bringing in valuable foreign exchange for that country and really helping it develop in so many other spheres as well. Looking at our economic challenges, just facilitating and supporting the private sector in medical and dental education alone, encouraging them, enabling them, without, of course, compromising quality or the standards in any way, facilitating them in increasing their capacity by 50% would easily generate $1 billion every year for Pakistan in the next 4 to 5 years. If these 123 colleges in the private sector working in medical and dental education were just given the goal of producing 100 nurses every year, focused on the global market, able to clear all the licensing exam, able to deliver and work anywhere else in the world, that alone means 12,000 nurses being produced every year, who alone, looking at just the current market rates globally, would allow them to have a remittance of more than 100 million USD per year. Pakistan's economy really depends on all our expat workers even right now. And there's about 9 million expat Pakistanis who contribute just around 30 billion USD every year to Pakistan, which really is a vital lifeline that keeps our economy going. I'd like to now move on and talk a little bit about the vision for RMI and the way forward. And that brings me to the dream of Rahman University. RMI firmly believes that the future of our country depends on moving towards a knowledge economy. It's in investing in our human capital. And it is with this mission that in early 2016, we submitted an application to the Higher Education Commission through the due process. We had a very comprehensive inspection. I'd like to appreciate the Higher Education Commission for such a thorough inspection and evaluating us and promptly giving us a no objection certificate and giving us a clearance for a university literally within a few months. And this, remember, was early 2016. Once again, the skeptics asked our founder chairman, why Peshawar? Why KP? And his answer remained the same, why not KP? We fulfilled all the requirements, we exceeded it. And just to give you a comparison, if we had 10 undergrad programs back in 2016, we now have 15. If we had 150 faculty members back then, we have more than 250 right now. If we had 1,200 students back then, we've added another 1,000 students to our enrollment since then. And all of this is while we still have these 5 colleges, some of those logos that you can see right over there. So why university? You know, we've not waited for Rahman University. We've gone ahead and done what we thought we could do. But we face these limitations from time to time. There's a massive demand of various master's programs, whether it's in nursing and so many other disciplines. But since we are not a university, we're not able to run a master's program. We intend to develop a lot of PhD programs. There's so many other innovative programs that are desperately needed, not just for Pakistan, but for the global market. Not having a charter disallows us from going in this direction. So what our founder chairman planted as a seed has started growing into a plant and is bearing fruit. But the analogy I'd like to present is that it's still in a small flower pot. It's grown as much as it could, but now its growth is being stifled. It cannot grow any further. And the limitations are this container that we are now in. We're constrained, our growth is constrained by all of these reasons that I just explained. And to realize our full potential, for us to bear even greater fruit, for this to thrive into a tree and to be contributing even more to our society, it's high time that it is transplanted onto some fertile soil. That fertile soil being a university charter, so that it can spread its roots and reach the sky like a tree and have a meaningful impact on our society. Sir, when I last met you in Lahore not so long ago, it was such a pleasure to see all of those universities in Drivend Road. The sight of a campus with 40,000 students, and this is the private sector, 40,000 students on campus. I was just driving through the traffic jam, and there's a lot of industries right there, and seeing all of those students coming out, it was truly a delight, and it just filled me with hope that if this could be scaled up, and I just hope someday our province learns from those success stories and just follows the same direction and realizes how desperately this is needed for our province and our country. So 2 years after we first applied for the charter and cleared all the due process, and it was just a waiting game, I happened to meet a senior government official at the time in the provincial government. And I said, look, it's been 2 years and we are still waiting. And he said, why are you so impatient? It's the government, things take time. So we are patient. It's been 8 years now and we are still patient. And we can wait for another 8 years, to be honest. It doesn't make much of a difference. But can our country afford it? That's the question we need to ask. And it's not just us. There's other very good institutions who've also applied and have cleared all the due process, but are still being denied their due right. I don't want to go into the debate of why we and these other institutions are not being given our due right. I don't want to debate what might be the vested interest or the desire to maintain a monopoly or whatever. That's not my concern. But to our friends who are resisting this and have been giving all kinds of arguments of why we don't need more universities and there's just enough of them, I just like to tell them that it's not this institution that they're harming. It doesn't affect us at all. It's not any individuals that they're harming. The only harm they're causing is to our province and this region. The only harm they're causing is denying the youth and our future generation a lot of opportunities. The improvements that we've been working on over the years are not incremental. We intend to bring about transformational change. And we should deliver an impact that's comparable to what Islamia College and now the university has done, what Peshawar University has done for this province. Just for a moment, imagine if you remove these two institutions, where does KP stand? That's the kind of transformational change that we wish to bring about in this region by training the next generation of graduates that are globally employable, that are innovative, that are problem solvers and thinkers, who are not just job seekers but job providers as well. Because we see KP as a hub of innovation and talent, and just like China happens to be a factory of the world, we see KP as being the world's healthcare workforce supplier, meeting the growing demands. Our expat workers working in terrible conditions, and I know this for a fact because we see patients coming from there, working in literally inhuman conditions, staying away from their families for prolonged durations of time, earning minimum wage. We want to replace them with doctors, nurses, technologists, pharmacists, and all these other allied disciplines. The government frequently recognizes and appreciates and encourages foreign direct investment, and rightly so. I think every economy, and it's really crucial for the economy to attract more and more foreign direct investment. But what about the local investors? What about of our very own Pakistanis who've chosen to invest their hard-earned savings right here rather than choosing to invest them somewhere else? Because the foreign investors will clearly look at all the feasibilities. They look at all the ways and means of repatriating their funds. But our long-term success relies on our local industry and our local investors. Because while globalization is great, COVID was a reminder When people started needing vaccines, we realized it's everyone for their own. Right? And that is when we realized how important it is for us to appreciate and develop our local industry. During the war on terror, the so-called war on terror, which was such a terrible time for this province, I think hardly any spot in the city was not affected. Just take a map of Peshawar and put your finger anywhere, and it was badly affected in some horrible way. And anyone who could leave the city back then left. And I now recall a little experience that head of radiology, Ghausab, who's sitting here, shared with me once. And he said, at its height, when there's just suicide bombings happening all the time, and he mentioned that he had a neighbor who was just discussing with him, and this is what everyone was thinking. How do we get out? Things are going bad, and how do we get out of here? And he said, incidentally, our chairman happened to visit the department the next day, and this is what was going in everyone's mind. Look at these conditions. There's no future. There's no survival. And our chairman started having discussions with him. What's the latest MRI? What's the next CT scan that our patients need? How do you improve the quality of care? How do we expand this department of yours? And he tells me that he kept thinking, how can he be an eternal optimist? How can he see light at the end of the tunnel when all we see is doom and gloom? That is the spirit of RMI. We belong to this community. We have a firm conviction that we will get through all of these challenges. It's in our organizational DNA, because RMI is more than a commercial venture. It's a mission, it's our commitment to this region, it's our commitment to the people, and we're in it for the long term. In conclusion, I'd like to appreciate the efforts of all the organizers who've put together this fabulous conference, which has just been such a celebration of research, innovation, and learning over the last few days. And I know the team members have put in so much effort behind the scenes, and while I cannot name everyone, I'd just like to appreciate everyone who's put in all these days and nights of work and made all of this happen. So a big round of applause for everyone who's made this. One feedback that I would like to share with organizers is for the next edition, I do look forward to seeing a segment for health tech startups as well, so we can recognize and appreciate some of the innovative solutions that our country really needs in health technology. A very special gratitude to Dr. Nasir Saab for his untiring efforts. And I learned yesterday that he has a WhatsApp group for his team, and it's called the Day and Night Group. So maybe you can now rename that as the Relaxation Group, because you really need to take a break and you've had a tough week. To Professor Ghulam Rasool Saab, thank you and congratulations on a job very well done. Yesterday you did mention that you were starting to get worried about the response in ICHR 2025. Just like RMI education needs to be moved from a small flower pot to a bigger field where it can thrive and grow, I think it is time that ICHR is given more space. Which is why I look forward to, inshallah, welcoming you next year in a new state-of-the-art auditorium and conference facilities in your very own Rahman College of Dentistry, which will have facilities much greater than this. So thank you all once again for your active participation throughout this week, and I look forward to seeing you next year, hopefully with much better weather, so you can see a little more of our city. Thank you, and Pakistan Zindabad.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is our distinct pleasure and honor to introduce our esteemed chief guest, the Chairman of Higher Education Commission Pakistan, Professor Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed. He has already served HEC as a member, Operation and Planning for about 6 years till February 2011, when he joined as Deputy Director General in Islamic Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, Rabat.
Professor Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed is a PhD from University of California. He has over 25 years of educational development and management experience, including teaching, higher education management policy development, project planning, supervising university industry collaboration, and allied matters. He has also worked with distinguished national and international organizations and brings with him unique expertise of educational leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our esteemed chief guest to the stage, Professor Dr. Mukhtar.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Honorable Professor Rahman Saab, the founder, chairperson, chairman of this Rahman Medical Institute's education sector, of course, CEO Saab, principals, Honorable Vice Chancellor, professors, deans,
I can see some, mashallah, old friends sitting here, the bureaucrats, Khalid Khan sahab also sitting here. Faculty members, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. I apologize that due to weather I was late. I tried to be on time, but on the motorway, they were stopping us that don't go fast, it is raining. So no excuse, but again I owe you this apologies that I was late coming here and I was not on time. First of all, let me congratulate the Professor Rahman Sahab, the young Rahman Sahab and the principal and all the organizer of giving me this opportunity that I should be here with you, a very important institution, mashallah. And these type of conferences are very essential, very important, especially when you have such a big number of participation, not only within country but out of country also. So we appreciate that good work you are doing. Health sector is very crucial. I always say that I know we are going through a difficult time in Pakistan, but if we can save two sectors, education, health, we have saved everything. This time will pass, and inshallah, Pakistan deserves to be a prosperous country. Provided we'll become a nation. Provided if we learn how to work together, how to live together. Provided if we'll get out of self-centric approach to giving approach. Provided if we are darwish sitting in universities and research organizations rather than so-called professors, people like me, who just add on things on their CV and they feel proud. I very humbly, because the young lady, she was introducing me and she said 25 years, I just want to correct you, beta, I'm now senior citizen. So it is already 37 years that I have worked in your sector. So, and after this service and then when you are senior citizen, Professor Rahman Sahab will be bearing with me and he will understand what I am talking. We became a little critical. We become critical that because we realize that now we are heading towards somewhere else. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask, what have you done? I sent you as my naib, that the go and the earth and help people. What have you done? So I think just to safeguard there, I think we are trying to then be critical and ask few questions and advise you, give sermon, so that when you will go back and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked me, what have you done? You were there chairman for two-time chairman in HEC. I will say, Allah ta'ala, मैंने तो कहा था, पेशावर भी जाके कहा था कि सही काम करें. तो आपने नहीं किया तो मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? So ladies and gentlemen, research is very important, no doubt in it. And I always say, not only here, they were introducing my bio that I was in Morocco also for a couple of years as Deputy Director General in ICHR. And luckily I participated in a World Science Forum in Hungary in 2012. And I was representing Islamic world there. So it was about the science, what are the wonders in science in the world. And so many Nobel laureates were there and they were talking about we have done such a thing, we have received such a type of thing. And I don't know, I stood up and I say, why we are so proud that science has done wonders? Should we be celebrating? Because in Africa still people die with malaria. How come we be so proud that we have done wonder when people are dying due to having polluted water? They don't have the drinking water available to them. And I gave them a slogan basically. I just want to give this same slogan to you also. I said, enough destructive science. Science has created more destruction rather than some construction or the better things. I know what we have done, scientists have done wonder in every field, but still if you see the bigger picture, look what is happening in Gaza. And I was just reading a couple of weeks back that in 2 days when Iran kind of sent some drones and missile toward Israel and Israel responded, for each missile I think it was costing them minimum $4 million. And if they have fired 200 or plus missile in one day, calculate the amount, our CEOs were talking about the big market available. And with that amount, how many medical colleges or how many hospitals we can build in the world, and we can reduce the suffering of people. So this is the actually ground reality we need to understand. And gentlemen, we are proud that Pakistan has produced wonderful doctors. You go around in West, even I was in America for 5-6 years. I'm a frequent traveler of Europe also. You see a lot of good doctors there, Pakistani doctors. But slowly we are losing our that niche we have created in our international market, especially in health sector. Sir, you were talking about the nursing. You know what? I don't know. I was remembering some number, but as I'm getting old. But there is a huge demand of nursing in the world at the moment. And we are getting big demand from different countries that we need nursing staff. And Prime Minister of Pakistan has given me target that we need to produce 1 million nursing staff in next 4 to 5 years. As of today, Pakistan needs 2.2 million nursing staff to fulfill the local requirement and the international requirement. But what are we doing? Our nursing staff, which is going through different private promoter to other countries, sad news that they are coming back. They are sending back those nursing staff that they are not at par with the world standard. What are we doing? So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the challenges. I think, sir, maybe you need to discuss such type of things which are administrative and governance issue, basically quality issues. Research itself is very important. Yeah, and I'll just share with you, because I was told that there was a delegation from Iran, Iraq, Somalia and other countries, and they have already left. But I visited Iran recently. And it was so amazed to see that. I like to, a word which is your principal used commonly in his speech, they were, the most frequently used word was the surprise. You were saying, you will be surprised to know that we have done this thing. And then you said, I'm surprised. So I was surprised when I was in Iran to see the progress they have made. And I told them, believe me, I said, you are lucky that you are sanctioned and you became a nation. I don't know if we need such type of shock, another shock, so which will make us nation. We are not a nation. And I was just coming from, they didn't brought me through Ring Road, but they were bringing me from the main road, and I just crossed so many beautiful and very good universities in Peshawar, Peshawar University, Islamia College University, UETs, etc., etc. This is a natural hub. This is, Allah is bless you people. Why can't we work together? Why can't mashallah, you have so many vice chancellors sitting here. Why can't we work together? Why can't we work together to solve the problem of the people? Why can't we reduce the misery of the people of Pakistan? And why not for humanity, for that purpose? This is the missing piece, CEOs, that our institution need to understand. This research we are talking, I know, mashallah, in number games we are doing a good job. When ICHR was created in 2002, from Pakistan only 850 publications were coming in the media. Recently we have crossed the 40,000 publications coming from Pakistan. Big achievement as far as the number is concerned. But people are asking me, what have you done for us? Did you produce any vaccine for us? Did you brought any remedy? Did you reduce any misery of common person of Pakistan? Did you brought any new invention which can help to reduce the misery of common person in Pakistan? These are the, believe me, big question people have started asking to government, to us, to you as a leader of the different professional institution. And believe me, they are just nicely asking these things. The way our culture is changed, get ready for some tough and different way of asking questions. So better we'll fix our house. I'm very happy to see such a big number in the closing session. Never happened. In closing session, mostly those people, especially students which know they will get some credit, they have the binding, they will sit. Otherwise, all senior people are gone. But I can see good senior people sitting here, so this means they are serious. So my request to you people here, sitting here, especially the leadership from public sector institution for private, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you provision that you are doing in this way there. He is Dr. Sahab is in public sector, I am in public sector, Khalid Khan is still surviving in public sector, and so many other people. But we have to work. We have very good institution in Pakistan in public sector. We have very good institution in Pakistan in private sector. We have a medium type of institution in public sector and also in private sector. And we have not so good institution in public sector as well as in private sector. The important thing is that we need to handhold each other. Whatever good lesson you learn, whatever good lesson they have learned, let's blend them. Let's solve the issues of Pakistan, society, humanities, and overall the world if we can contribute toward the words. As I told you, I gave you the example of Iran, that mashallah they have evolved such a way as a nation that they have built everything. They offer me that, Excellency, we can give you turn-on-key basis, complete hospital with equipment, everything, you tell us. तो मैंने उनको लाइटर नोट ने कहा क्यों हम पे सैंक्शन लगवाने लगे एक और, ठीक है. तो कहने का मकसद ये है सर कि आई नो नोबडी इज सिटिंग हियर हु स्पीक इंग्लिश, तो मैं थोड़ा सा दिल की बातें उर्दू में करूँगा क्योंकि आप दोनों ने इतने सवाल उठाए हैं, मुझे जवाब देने के लिए 1.5 घंटा चाहिए. तो बेशक खाने वालों से कहें कि आज थोड़ा सा लाइट वो कम कर दें ताकि हमें टाइम लगेगा. See, the problem is this. The world is going on a nano-based research thing. We are still working on the old conventional research. کہ پیشنٹ آئے ہیں, ڈیٹا لیا, جس طرح کہتے ہیں نا پیٹ میں درد ہو رہا ہے تو تجربہ کریں گے یار یہ کیا ہو سکتا ہے, گیسٹروٹالوجی کا مسئلہ بھی ہو سکتا ہے, وہ کیا ہوتا ہے, وہ جو آپریشن اپینڈکس بھی ہو سکتا ہے, کڈنی کا پین بھی ہو سکتا ہے. تو پھر ہم وہ جو نا ود سم ڈیٹا سے جو اس کو ملتے ہیں آپ کو سیمپل اس سے آپ ایک سائز شروع کرتے ہو کہ اچھا پہلے آپریشن کر لیتے ہیں, آپریشن نہیں کرتے اسکین کرا لیتے ہیں. دنیا اتنی ایڈوانس چلی گئی ہے کہ ہمیں پتہ نہیں کتنے سال لگے گا وہاں تک جانے کے لیے. اگین فار ریسرچ آپ, میں آپ سے کہتا ہوں کہ سائٹو اس پہ جینیٹکس پہ اور سائٹو لیول پہ سیلولر لیول سے بھی نیچے چلے گئے ہوئے ہیں دنیا ریسرچ میں, اور ہم ابھی تک وہ پرانے کنونشن طریقوں پہ آئے ہوئے ہیں. تو میری ریکویسٹ ہی ہوگی اسپیشلی ان ہیلتھ سیکٹر, پلیز آپ کی اتنی اچھی کولیبریشن ہے انٹرنیشنل لیول پہ, اسٹارٹ ڈوئنگ دا ریئل ریسرچ which should have some impact, which should solve our problem, which should help the government even to think کہ نہیں جی this is a very important sector. ابھی تو کیا ہے, ہم تو ایجوکیشن اور ہیلتھ are the last 2 items in budget to make the adjustment, otherwise it is not important. A country who is spending less than 0.2% on GDP and higher education, what are you expecting? And same thing is true, I believe, in health sector. سو کہنے کا مقصد یہ ہے کہ انف نمبر انف جی اتنی چیزیں ہو گئی ہیں, اب ریئل سینس میں ہمیں دیکھنا ہے کہ پاکستان کے مسئلے حل کیسے ہوں گے, ہم عام بندوں کے مسائل کو کیسے حل کر سکتے ہیں, کس طرح ہم چیزیں کنوینئنس پہنچائیں ہم ڈور سٹیپ پہ. یہ کس دنیا میں ہم 21ویں صدی میں 22ویں صدی میں آگے, اور ابھی تک ہم وہ, میں معذرت کے ساتھ, وہ پہلے زمانے میں نا وہ خط کا لفافہ ہوتا تھا نا, ایسے تھوک لگا کے آپ جوڑا کرتے تھے, آج بھی ایسے کر رہے ہیں. اس سے نکلنا پڑے گا ہمیں اگر ہم ریئلی دنیا میں سروائیو کرنا چاہتے ہیں. ایک اور مثال دیتا ہوں. بینگ دا چیئرمین آف HEC, آئی ایم آلسو دا ممبر آف دا BOG ان ساؤتھ ایشیا یونیورسٹی جو سارک کنٹری نے مل کے بنائی ہے. نیو دہلی میں اس کا پہلا جو کیمپس کھلا ہے, پرنسپل سیٹ دہلی میں ہے. سو آئی ایم اے فریکوینٹ وزٹر آف انڈیا. To whenever there is a BOG meeting, I used to go, especially when I was chairman 2014 to 18. تو اس دوران میں بڑی دفعہ وہاں گیا. جس طرح آج میرا تھوڑا سا گلا بھی ٹھیک نہیں ہے, کچھ بخار بھی ہے چند دنوں سے, وہاں بھی مجھے ایک دم میرا بڑا سینسٹیو گلا ہے, تو مجھے انفیکشن ہوگی شاید, بیمار ہو گیا, بخار ہو گیا. They asked me that we need to get you some doctor. I said, yes, I think I need that. ایک ڈاکٹر صاحب آئے, انہوں نے مجھے چیک کیا, انہوں نے کہا سر یو ہیو انفیکشن, تھروٹ انفیکشن, یو ہیو ٹیمپریچر, یو ہیو باڈی ایک, سو ڈونٹ وری. انہوں نے کوئی لکھا ہے نسخہ جو لکھتے ہیں. اور جب مجھے میڈیسن آئی تو میں وہ میڈیسن دیکھ کے نا پریشان ہو گیا. میں نے سوچا کہ یہ میرے ساتھ مذاق کرے. میں پچھلے دنوں بھی سرینا میں ایک فنکشن تھا, اس پہ یہ میں نے ان کو کہانی سنائی. وہ ایک گولی سی تھی وچ واز ملٹی کلر ٹیبلٹ, میں نے زندگی میں کبھی نہیں دیکھی. اچھا اس پہ ایک سائڈ اس کی वाइट थी, दूसरी साइड पिंक एंड ब्लू थी. मैंने कहा व्हाट इज दिस, ये कोई टॉफियाँ ले आए हो मेरे लिए? कहता नो, व्हाट इज रॉन्ग? आई से व्हाट इज दिस, आई नेवर सॉ सच टाइप ऑफ मेडिसिन. कहता व्हाट इज डिफरेंट है? आई सेड 3 कलर है, अजीब सी गोली, इस तरह की तो गोली मैंने नहीं देखी. हमारे यहाँ तो कैप्सूल होता है, ये मॉक्सल का है, एजोमैक्स का 500 का, जो भी हमने देखे हैं मुख्तलिफ किस्म के, और गोलियाँ होती हैं, पैनाडॉल हो गया या रिनेक फोर्ट हो गया, इस तरह की टैबलेट्स बड़ी बड़ी मोटी देखी. तो वो हंसने लगा. उसने फ्रॉम विच कंट्री यू आर एक्सीलेंसी? आई सेड आई एम फ्रॉम पाकिस्तान. ओह, ही सेड आई गॉट इट. तो उसने मुझे बड़ी अच्छी कहानी सुनाई. मैंने अपनी यूनिवर्सिटियों को बड़ा मशवरा दिया, आपने भी फार्मेसी डिपार्टमेंट आपके पास होगा. तो कहता है आपके यहाँ फार्मास्यूटिकल जो कंपनी है ना, वो आपके साथ बड़ा कोई हाथ करती हैं. वो आपसे इन तीनों चीज़ों के लिए 3 किस्म की गोलियाँ, आप कितने खाते हैं? मैंने कहा जी एक एंटीबायोटिक खाते हैं, एक कोई पेन किलर खाता हूँ, एक बुखार के लिए. कहता है यस, ये तीनों चीज़ें इसके अंदर है. तो मैंने कहा ये कैसे हो सकता है? कहना क्यों नहीं हो सकता? कहता है ये जो वाइट वाला है, इसमें ये, इसमें ये, इसमें एंटीबायोटिक्स भी हैं, इसमें पेन किलर भी है, इसमें ये भी है, और ये आपकी पैनाडॉल से भी 1/4 कीमत पे है. So this was amazing for me. It was a lesson, and I was also surprised to see that. आप यूज करें, ठीक है. लेकिन कहने का मकसद यह है कि इस कौम को कौन आसानियां पैदा करेगा? हमारी नहीं, मेरी जिम्मेदारी है, आपकी जिम्मेदारी है. क्यों नहीं? हम साल्स तो वही है ना सर. मैं खुद मेरा भी ठीक है, मैंने 2 डिग्रियां गलती से कर ली थी, एक साइंस में, एक बिजनेस में. साइंस मेरा फाइटो केमिस्ट्री है, मेडिसिन प्लांट में मेरा काम, और थोड़ा बहुत मुझे केमिस्ट्री आती है, और ये साल्ट वगैरह की कम्बिनेशन है, इसका भी मुझे अंदाज़ा है. दैट इज़ नॉट ए रॉकेट साइंस. वाई कांट वी डू दीज थिंग हेयर इन पाकिस्तान? हमारी यूनिवर्सिटियों के ऑर्क्स बने हुए हैं. मैंने अपनी यूनिवर्सिटियों से बड़ी दफ़ा कहा है, लेकिन मेरे ये अल्लाह के वली भी ये अपने CV मोटे करने के लगे रहते हैं. मैं कहता हूँ वो बाहर से सीखो कि वो जो असल दरवेश हैं, वो प्रोफेसर हैं, वो साथ जिनको अपनी काम के अलावा किसी चीज़ की फ़िक्र नहीं है. मेरे समेत हम सबको अपने काम के अलावा हर चीज़ की फ़िक्र है. मुझे इसकी भी फ़िक्र है कि वो आज अमेरिका क्या कर रहा है. मुझे इसकी भी फ़िक्र है कि वो फलानी क्रिकेट मैच का वो उसमें टीम में कौन होगा. मुझे इसकी भी फ़िक्र है कि कौन सा नया जो DHA या बैरिया की स्कीम शुरू हुई है, वहाँ से कौन सी फाइलें सस्ती मिल रही हैं. ऐसे ही है. मुझे इसकी भी फ़िक्र है कि मैं कितनी जल्दी प्रोफेसर बन जाऊँगा, और उसके बाद मैंने सियासत करनी. ठीक है. मुझे इसकी भी फ़िक्र है कि मैं कितनी जल्दी ये सारा कुछ बना लूँ. किसी को फ़िक्र नहीं कि इसको अल्लाह ताला ने मुझे आपको उस प्रोफेशन के लिए सिलेक्ट किया. ये एक वली बैठे हुए हैं इधर, एक दरवेश बैठे हुए हैं, प्रोफेसर रहमान साहब, जिस तरह रहमान जूनियर साहब, मैं नाम बोल रहा है, उनसे कहा गया कि आप वाकई में अगर दुनियावी या पाकिस्तानी स्टाइल में देखना चाहिए तो इनको कभी भी पेशावर में ये सेटअप नहीं बनाना चाहिए. बड़ी मार्केट्स लाहौर है, कराची है, ये इलाके हैं. जिस तरह ये जिस कौन सा रोड है वो ठोकर न्याज बेस पे जिसका रेफरेंस दे रहे थे, हर यूनिवर्सिटी में 40,000 से ज़्यादा स्टूडेंट है प्राइवेट सेक्टर में, एंड दे आर मिंटिंग बिलियंस ऑफ रुपीज़. फेयर इनफ, अच्छा काम करें तो मुझे आई डोंट माइंड. मैं तो कहता हूँ कि एजुकेशन इंडस्ट्री बन चुका है, लेकिन जायज़ तरीके से भी आप जायज़ पैसे अच्छे कमा सकते हो अगर करना चाहो. तो मेरी गुजारिश ये होगी कि इस तरह से इवेंट से एक लेसन ये लर्न करें, और ख़ासकर जो हमारी यंग जनरेशन है, दे हैव बिन हाईजैक्ड. प्रोफेसर साहब, माई यंग जनरेशन हैज़ बिन हाईजैक्ड, एंड राइटली सो, बिकॉज आई हैव नॉट प्लेड माई रोल. लेट मी कन्फेस इन फ्रंट ऑफ ऑल ऑफ यू, as a teacher, as a father, as a citizen, I think I have not played my role. Otherwise, पाकिस्तान की सफरिंग वो ना होती जब पाकिस्तान सफ़र कर. इन बच्चों का कसूर नहीं है, इन बच्चियों का कसूर नहीं है. जब मैंने एज ए बाप इनको पूरा इंगेज नहीं किया, इनको ये बात नहीं समझी, इनको सुनाई नहीं, जब मैंने एज ए टीचर इनको सिर्फ ये सोचा कि मेरी जो 10 स्लाइडें मैं 15 में कापी पेस्ट करके लाया हूँ, सो वही दिखा के चले जाना है, मैंने उससे आगे इनको बताया नहीं है कि राइट और रॉन्ग में फ़र्क क्या है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी क्या है, बड़ों का अदब क्या है, छोटे से प्यार क्या है, तो इनका क्या कसूर. तो इनको किसी और ने हाईजैक कर लिया है. तो मुझे इन बच्चियों को वापस लाना है अपने पाकिस्तान में. आपकी ज़िम्मेदारी, मेरी ज़िम्मेदारी, और इनको राइट और रॉन्ग में फ़र्क दिखाएं. बदकिस्मती से हमारे माशरे में एक कल्चर हो गया है जो हमारे बड़ों ने सिखाया है. माज़रत के साथ मैंने कहा सर, मैं बूढ़ा भी हो गया हूँ तो थोड़ी सी सख्त बातें करता हूँ, लेकिन मेरा ख्याल है किसी को तो कहना पड़ेगा. ہم نے کلچر بنا دیا پاکستان میں جنہ کوئی لچا اور نہ اچا, ہے نا ایسی بات. دس از بیڈ اومن, یہ پاکستان کے لیے تباہی کا سامان. آئیے مل کے ایجوکیشنسٹ اپنے حصے کی ذمہ داری اٹھائیں اور اپنی اگلی نسل کو رائٹس, بیسک ایتھکس, ویلیو, نارمز, اور جو ہمارا بڑوں نے ہمیں سکھایا تھا. یہ پشاور کا کلچر تو بڑا, پشوری کلچر تو بڑا زبردست ہوتا تھا چند ڈیکیڈ بیک, کیونکہ میرا تعلق بھی آپ کے ساتھ گاؤں میں, میرا ہزرو ادھر اٹک کے ہٹیاں کے پاس. تو ہمیں تو پشوری وہ یاد ابھی بھی آتی ہے, کیا پیار, کیا وہ آپ کی جو لوکل زبان ہے, کیا کہتے ہیں اس کو, ہند کو, ہاں جی, اس کی کیا خوبصورتی تھی. بڑوں سے ادب, چھوٹوں کا سے پیار, گیونگ کا کنسیپٹ, ٹیکنگ والا سوچا ہی کسی نے نہیں. آج ہم سارے میرا کیا بنے گا, میرا کیا ہوگا, مجھے کیا ملے گا, باقی سارے جائیں بھاڑ میں. اس چکر نے ہمیں یہاں تک پہنچا دیا. And whatever your CEO was saying that what a country, believe me, I feel very sad when our leadership from all sort, they celebrate کہ we are going to get such a $3 billion loan. یا اس پہ بھی خوشی مناتے ہیں کہ ہمارا جو لون سعودیہ نے دیا ہوا تھا وہ اس کو آگے کر دیا. اللہ اکبر. 244 million people. Look at small countries in the world. You know, Hungary, how many people they have? 10 million کی population. And they are giving 400 scholarship to Pakistan. صرف پاکستان کو, دنیا کو اسکالرشپ دے رہے ہیں. ہم تو وہ ہماری وہ جو شاید ہماری جو باسکٹ ہے اس میں چھید اتنے ہیں کہ وہ بھرتی ہی نہیں. تو آئیے مل کے آج عہد کریں. اچھا سنڈے والے دن بارش بھی ہو رہی ہے, موسم بھی اچھا ہے, اتنے اچھے لوگ آپ کے پاس, اور آپ کے پاس ایگزامپل ہیں. اور سچی بات ہے پرنسپل صاحب, I was surprised when I asked Professor, I'm little witty. When I get tired or frustrated, I get witty. So I just when I know Rahman Sahab, mashallah, big name, and we used to interact way back. When I was first time chairman HEC 2014 to 18, I asked Professor Sahab, how is your university doing? So I was surprised to note that a NOC issued by, when I was the chairman in 2016, it is still roaming around. Wow, Bismillah. کیا کہنا چاہیے؟ بسم اللہ کہنا چاہیے, استغفر اللہ کہنا چاہیے, لا حول ولا قوت کہنا چاہیے. کیا ہو گیا ہے, کیوں نہیں؟ اور دیکھیں وہ جس کی مثال میں نے پنجابی میں دی تھی, بہت سے ایسے ادارے بنے جن کو نہیں بننا چاہیے. میں مل رہا ہوں آپ کے چیف منسٹر صاحب سے نیکسٹ ویک انشاءاللہ. I will raise this issue to him and I will request him. لیکن میری ریکویسٹ بھی آپ سے یہ ہوگی کہ آپ اب تھوڑے سے اور پروفیشنل اپنی بار کو ہائی کریں, کیونکہ یو آر ناٹ اینی مور کالجز, یو آر ناٹ آن اینی مور اسمال ٹریننگ سینٹر, یو آر انسپائرنگ ٹو بیکم اے یونیورسٹی. تو یور یونیورسٹی شوڈ ہیو اے ریئل ریسرچ امپیکٹ, not impact factor. We are not interested in impact factor anymore. I'm more interested in impact on society. ایک چیز بتائیں کوئی ہم پاکستان میں, آپ کے پاس انجینئرنگ یونیورسٹی ادھر ہے کمال کی ماشاءاللہ, یو ٹی از اے ویری گڈ نیم, اور پشاور یو ٹی سے بڑے بڑے لوگ نکلے. کیا وجہ ہے کہ آج ہم ایون کیٹ لیب کی وہ جو ٹیوب ہوتی ہے وہ بھی باہر سے منگاتے ہیں؟ کیونکہ قوم اگر اسی کو مائنڈ لے جو آپ بات کر رہے تھے کہ ڈالر پاؤنڈ, آج کل ساری قوم ڈالر کے پیچھے لگی ہوئی ہے, تو کتنے ڈالر ہم ضائع کرتے ہیں وہ چھوٹی چھوٹی چیزوں پہ جو کوئی مسئلہ ہی نہیں ہے پاکستان میں بنانے. اور خاص کر آپ کے ادھر تو پشاور میں تو پتہ نہیں کدھر سے چیزیں آ جاتی ہیں. میں ابھی اپنے ساتھیوں سے کہہ رہا ہوں, میں کارخانوں بازار دیکھنا چاہتا ہوں, میں نے بڑی تعریف سنی. ٹھیک ہے, تو why can't we do reverse engineering and do something we can have indigenous type of thing, especially in your field medical. چھوٹی مطلب اب کیا میں بتاؤں, آپ کہیں گے ڈاکٹر صاحب آئے ہیں بڑی نیگیٹو باتیں کر کے, تو میں پازیٹیو باتیں کرتا ہوں. ٹھیک, تو بیسیکلی سولوشن از ریکوائر. اور سولوشن کیا ہے ڈاکٹر صاحب, آپ بھی وائس چانسلر صاحب, کہ پلیز آپس میں ہاتھ ملائیں. اور آپ کے پاس ایک نیچرل ہب بنا ہوا ہے, ٹھیک ہے, آپ کے پاس ایگریکلچر یونیورسٹی ہے, آپ کے پاس انجینئرنگ یونیورسٹی ہے, آپ کے پاس جنرل یونیورسٹی ہے جہاں پہ آپ فائنانس بھی پڑھاتے ہو, بزنس بھی پڑھاتے ہو سر. آپ کے پاس میڈیکل خیبر میڈیکل یونیورسٹی بھی ہے, پرائیویٹ یونیورسٹیز بھی بہت اچھی بھی ہیں ادھر, اور یہ ادارے بھی رحمان انسٹیٹیوٹ جیسے ادارے بھی ہیں, اور پرائیویٹ کے باقی ادارے بھی ہیں اچھے بھی ہیں, اور اچھے نہ بھی ہوں تو ان میں ایک دو اچھی سینٹر آف ایکسیلنس بھی ہیں, کوئی ایک دو ڈپارٹمنٹ اسٹرانگ ہوتے ہیں. آپ جوائن ہینڈ کر کے ایک کہیں جی کہ یہ ہم CSR کے طور پہ کرتے ہیں کہ ہم مل کے کام کرتے ہیں, جس سے چلیں یہیں سے شروع کریں کہ پشاور کے لوگوں کے مسائل کا حل کیا نکالنا ہے. آپ کو پتہ ہے کہ پاکستان میں ہیپیٹائٹس C دنیا میں سب سے زیادہ, آئی بلیو ایسا ہی, شوگر دنیا میں سب سے زیادہ ہمارے پاس, شاید اس کا جو پرسنٹیج ہے ہمارے پاس ہے پر پرسن کے حساب سے, پاپولیشن کے حساب سے. کون حل کرے گا ان مسائل کو؟ میں نے, آپ کہتے ہیں اپرچونٹی, بہت اپرچونٹی ہے. میں بھی یہ سوچتا تھا, پچھلے دور میں نے بڑی فوکس ریسرچ کروانے کی کوشش کی اپنے میڈیکل یونیورسٹیوں سے. اس دفعہ میں نے, مشکل وقت تھا بٹ آئی واز ایبل ٹو کولیکٹ سم رفلی 2.5 بلین روپیز, کہ میں نے کہا یہ اس پہ کوئی خرچہ نہیں کرنا, یہ صرف میں اس کا نام دیا ریپڈ ریسرچ گرانٹ. آپ نے دیکھا ہوگا بڑی ایڈورٹیزمنٹ بھی میں نے کروائی, اور میں نے پک کیے 5-6 بیسک تھیم جو ہمارے چیلنجز ہیں. لائک آئی سیڈ, پاکستان میں آپ تو میڈیکل پروفیشن کے ہو, آئی ہیو آبزرو اٹ ایون مائی فیملی, ہر دوسرے تیسرے گھر میں بریسٹ کینسر, سسٹ کے مسائل بچیوں کے بہت زیادہ. اور میرے لیے بھی سرپرائز تھا اگین سر کہ مجھے پتہ لگا کہ یہ بریسٹ کینسر میل میں بھی ہے. مجھے بتایا گیا کہ میل کے اندر بھی یہ آ رہا ہے بریسٹ کینسر, اور بڑا سیریس بات ہے. میں نے کہا جی اس پہ مجھے نہیں چاہیے کہ آپ پیپر پبلش کرتے ہیں کہ نہیں کرتے, یہ آپ کا بونس ہے. مجھے 1 سال میں صرف 2 کویسچن آنسر چاہیے, اینڈ ٹیل می ہاؤ مچ منی یو نیڈ. آئی سیڈ گیو می ون, what is the reason for so much spread in Pakistan for this particular cancer disease or whatever. Number 2, what is the solution? پھر مجھے صبح اٹھتے ہیں اخبار میں لکھا ہوتا ہے کہ لاہور از دا موسٹ پولوٹیڈ سٹی ان ورلڈ, کبھی کہتے ہیں کراچی از دا موسٹ پولوٹیڈ سٹی ان ورلڈ. آئی سیڈ any person, any university, any department come up with proposal, what is the cause and what is the solution? Pakistan is on top among those 7 countries which are high risk as the water scarcity is concerned. اس کا کیا کرنا ہے بھائی؟ کسی نے سوچا کہ جو بارشوں میں اتنا پانی ضائع ہو رہا ہے, کسی نے کوئی ہارویسٹنگ کا سوچا, کوئی انڈر گراؤنڈ واٹر کو ٹیبل کو انکریز کرنے کا سوچا. ہم تو لڑتے رہتے ہیں, یہ میرا پانی, یہ میری بجلی, یہ تمہاری بجلی, مجھے پیسے نہیں ملے, وہ نعرے لگاتے رہتے ہیں, قوم بیوقوف بنتی رہتی. میں نے اپنے اکیڈیمیا سے کہا کہ اس پہ کوئی ریسرچ کرو یار. آپ نے آبزرو کیا ہوگا آپ کے صوبے میں تھوڑا سا زیادہ بھی ہے, معذرت کے ساتھ, ٹالرنس لیول نہیں رہا ہمارے پاس, برداشت ہی نہیں ہے کسی کی. ہار جائیں تو پھر بھی لڑتے ہیں, جیت جائیں تو برداشت نہیں ہوتا. میں الیکشن کی بات نہیں کر رہا, گیمز کی بات کر رہا ہوں. ٹھیک, واٹ از دی سوشل, یہ بہت بڑا سوشل ایشو ہمارا بنتا جا رہا ہے. بدتمیزی انتہا کو پہنچ چکی. مجھے دکھ ہوتا ہے کہ میری یونیورسٹیوں میں جائز بات بھی بچے گالی دے کے کرتے ہیں. آپ سوشل میڈیا کھول کے دیکھ لیں, معذرت کے ساتھ, حق بات کرنا ضرور کرنی چاہیے, اور مسلمانوں کے لیے تو اور فرض ہے, لیکن بدتمیزی کرنا کہاں لکھا ہوا ہے بھائی؟ ماں بہن کرنا, گالی گلوچ دینا, عزتیں اچھالنا کدھر لکھا ہوا ہے؟ یہ کون اس کا جواب دے گا؟ میں نے اس کو بھی ڈالا, اس کو 7 تھیم. the bottom line is I advertise 7 theme and I asked them please. میں نے سب یونیورسٹیوں میں سرکولیٹ کرایا, پبلک سیکٹر, پرائیویٹ سیکٹر میں, اخباروں میں دیا. To my surprise only 69 proposal came. اچھا, اب تو اس میں آپ مسکرا سکتے ہیں, لافٹر بھی ہو سکتا ہے. ایک پرپوزل آئی جی کہ ہم خشک پتوں سے کاغذ بنائیں گے. اب اس پہ مسکرانا چاہیے, ہنسنا چاہیے, یا سوچنا چاہیے کہ نہیں یہ بھی اچھا آئیڈیا, ہمارے تو بہت پتے گرتے ہیں خزاں میں. پھر ایک پرپوزل آئی کہ ویل چیئر کے اندر ہم کیمرہ لیں گے, یہ جو آپ کے کارخانوں بازار میں چھوٹے کیمرے نہیں ملتے, وہ لگائیں گے, اور تھوڑا سا اس کی پروگرامنگ کر کے نا اس کو کہہ دیں گے یہ AI بیس. وہ ابھی آپ نے چیٹ GTP کی بات کی تھی نا, تو یہ بز ورڈ بن چکے ہیں. ہمارے ہاں ہوتا کیا ہے کہ ہم شکریوں کی طرح انتظار کر رہے ہوتے ہیں کدھر کو گوشت پڑا ہوا ہے, کدھر کوئی بیٹ ہے, اور سارے پھر اس کے اوپر چھلانگیں مار دیتے ہیں بغیر سوچے سمجھے. پاکستان میں مجھے یاد ایک دفعہ انوائرمنٹ فرینڈلی کا کنسیپٹ ہوا پروفیسر رحمان صاحب آپ کو یاد ہوگا ایک دور میں کچھ 20 سال پہلے کی بات ہے, اور جو بات ہوتی تو PC1 پہ لکھا ہوتا ہے انوائرمنٹ فرینڈلی. لیٹرلی مجھے بتایا گیا کہ CDA میں قبرستان کی ایک پروپوزل آئی, اس پہ لکھا ہوا تھا انوائرمنٹ فرینڈلی قبرستان. مجھے لگتا ہے آج کل یہ AI اور یہ ساری چیزیں جو آ رہی ہیں نا بز ورڈ, وہ اتنی کامن ہو جانی ہے کہ آپ نے کہنا ہے جی اس کا آپریشن بھی AI بیس ہوگا. تو میری خواہش ہے کہ ہم ان چکروں سے نکل آئیں, اور میری خود دعا ہے اور کوشش بھی ہے جتنے دن رہ گئے ہیں کہ آئیے مل کے ہم ایک نیشن بنیں, آئیے مل کے ہم ہیومن بینگ بنیں, جس کا مطلب کیا ہے ہوموسیپین ہے, سوشل اینیمل ہیں. سوشل پارٹ جتنا کم ہوتا جائے گا اتنے اینیمل ہم بنتے جائیں گے, اور جتنا سوشل پارٹ آتا جائے گا ہم انسان بنتے جائیں گے. آئیں ہم بنی نوع انسانیت کی جو اشرف المخلوقات اللہ نے ہمیں بنایا ہے اس کو سامنے رکھتے ہوئے اپنے آنے والی نسلوں کے لیے, اپنے ملک کے لیے مل کے کوشش کریں. اور سب کچھ اللہ نے ہمیں دیا ہوا ہے. دیر از نو ڈاؤٹ وی ڈونٹ نیڈ اینی تھنگ بلیو می ایکسیپٹ کہ وی ول بیکم اے نیشن. وی شوڈ گیٹ آؤٹ آف دس سیلف سینٹرک اپروچ. وی شوڈ اسٹارٹ گیونگ کانسیپٹ. جو میں نے OIC میں جو کام کر کے آیا ہوں تو میرے پاس پوری 55 کنٹریز تھی اسلامک ورلڈ کے. آئی واز دی آپریشن ہیڈ فار ایجوکیشن, سائنس, ٹیکنالوجی, کلچر اینڈ کمیونیکیشن آل اوور ورلڈ. ٹو مائی سرپرائز پرنسپل صاحب, مجھے جو میں کمپیئر کر رہا تھا کہ کیا وجہ ہے کہ یار یہ مسلمانوں کو کیا ہو گیا, بلا پڑ گئی کہ ہر جگہ ہم پیٹے جا رہے ہیں. مسلمان تو اشرف المخلوقات, ویسے تو انسان اشرف المخلوقات ہے, مسلمان نہیں. مسلمان تو لیڈ کرتے تھے فرام 7th century to 13th century. پاک مسلمانوں کو طوطی بولتا تھا. اگین آئی وینٹ ٹو ہمدان اینڈ دے ٹک می ٹو بول سینا ٹام. تو مجھے اندازہ تو صاحب پڑھا بھی تھا ہسٹری سے بول سینا کی کنٹریبیوشن, لیکن ادھر جا کے مجھے بتایا کہ وہ اتنے ایریاز کے اندر اس کی اتھارٹی تھا, اور اتنے ہی انہوں نے اس کے وہ پلر سے کھڑے کیے کہ اس کا ٹام جب بنایا ہوا, اور اس کی جو پبلیکیشن, اس کی باقی چیزیں. تو میں اس وقت سوچ رہا تھا خالد صاحب اس وقت تو HEC بھی نہیں تھا, اس وقت تو فنڈنگ بھی نہیں تھی, اس وقت تو اتنے US سے پروفیسر بھی نہیں آتے تھے, فل برائٹ اسکالرشپ بھی نہیں تھے. ہاؤ آن دا ارتھ دیٹ جینٹلمین واز ایبل ٹو کریٹ سچ اے میریکل کہ آج بھی اس کی کتاب دنیا میں پڑھائی جاتی ہیں کتابیں. اور کسی فیلڈ کو لے لیں, آپ کی میڈیسن میں لے لیں, آپ کی جو سرجریکل میں لے لیں, وہ مسلمانوں کو جب 30ویں چیز سے اس وقت تک کا کام ہے, اسی کی بنیاد پہ دنیا ویسٹ نے ترقی کی ہے. ویئر تھنگ وینٹ رانگ کہ ہم مسلمان اب مزری میں ہر جگہ خوار ہو رہے ہیں, اور ہم ان کی طرف دیکھتے ہیں کچھ مل جائے, کچھ مل جائے, کچھ مل جائے. کب کھڑے ہوں گے؟ وجہ سمجھ آئی بڑی آسان سی. اگین مائنڈ نہ کیجئے. مجھے جو ویسٹ کا جو اس وقت ڈارک ایجز میں ہوتا تھا ویسٹ, اینڈ دا ویسٹرن کنٹری دے ور فیلنگ پرائڈ وین دے ور ٹیلنگ ادر پیپل مائی کڈ از ان اس میں جہاں پہ یہ کیا ہے ہم ایجپٹ میں پڑھ رہے ہیں, بغداد میں پڑھ رہے ہیں, اس طرح کے جو جہاں پہ ہمارے جب مسلمانوں کا غلبہ تھا اور بعد میں ہم نے وہ جبراٹر کی وجہ سے بعد میں مسئلے ہو گئے. کہنے کا مقصد یہ ہے کہ اس میں ان ڈارک ایجز میں جس طرح آج ہم پرائڈ فیل کرتے ہیں کہ ہارورڈ, اسٹینفورڈ, کیمبرج ادھر گئے تھے, تو پتہ لگا کہ جو میری انالیسز ہے میں بھی رہا کہ 2 people played their role in their society. Their Kalisa play the role of charity, giving. ہمارا تو کیا کہتا ہے کہ جی مینو بھی دیو تو طالبان جو میرے بچے ہیں ان کے لیے بھی دینا ہے آپ نے کچھ نا. انہوں نے یہ نہیں, انہوں نے اپنی قوم کو سکھایا کہ آپ نے دینا ہے, آپ نے چیریٹی کرنی ہے, آپ نے اپنے اللہ کو راضی کرنے کے لیے دوسروں کی خدمت کرنی ہے, بے لوث خدمت کرنی ہے. ہمارے امام نے یہ نہیں سکھایا. ان کے ٹیچر نے ان کو ہاتھ پکڑ کے اس اندھیرے سے نکالا, اور دیکھیں رائٹلی سو اس وقت ویسٹ دنیا کو لیڈ کر رہی ہے. جس قوم کے یہ 2 عناصر امام اور استاد اگر اپنا رول پلے کرنا چھوڑ دیں گے وہ قومیں کبھی ترقی نہیں کر سکتی. دیٹ از دا ایشو آف مسلمس, دیٹ از دا ایشو آف پاکستان, بلیو می. میں آپ اگر اپنا رول پلے کر دیں, میں دوسری طرف بات نہیں کرتا, یہیں سے فتویٰ لگا کے مجھے اپنے اٹک پار نہیں کرانے دینا. تو پلیز استادو استادی چھوڑو, اپنا کام کرتے ہیں اور اس قوم کو ایک قوم بناتے ہیں, اور پاکستان کے اندر ہر مسئلے کا حل اندر ہی موجود ہے. اور आइए मिल के कोशिश करते हैं और दुआ करते हैं, एंड आई कैन बेट माई लाइफ ऑन दिस 1 year maximum 1 year, the Pakistan will be the prospering country, and we are going to make our ancestor and future generation proud of us कि ये कौम एक उठी थी, ये बच्चे बच्चियाँ, हमने तो गलतियाँ की, अब हमने क्या उठना। आप लोगों ने इस पे फैसला करना है कि क्या आप हमारी जैसी गलतियाँ करेंगे और सेल्फ सेंटर रहेंगे और अपनी अपनी बात करेंगे, ऐसी तैसी करते रहेंगे, दूसरों की बर्दाश्त का मादा नहीं होगा, या हम उठ के हाथ मिला के एक टीम बन के इस मुल्क के लिए कुछ करना शुरू करेंगे, तो ये मुल्क बचता भी है, अल्लाह करेगा बचेगा, और ये मुल्क तरक्की भी करेगा। इस उम्मीद के साथ कि कुछ नहीं होगा अंधेरों को बुरा कहने से, अपने हिस्से का चिराग जलाना होगा। आइए मिल के काम करते हैं। पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद, एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर पेशेंस लिसनिंग, and I hope you will be also surprised to listen such type of a presidential speech. Thank you very much.
ICHR 24 has surpassed all expectation, and the credit goes to our CEO, Mr. Shafiqur Rahman. Thank you, sir, for your inspiring leadership. To our esteemed chief guest, Professor Dr. Mukhtar Ahmed, your presence honors us deeply.
To the principal of RCD, Professor Dr. Ghulam Rasool, your vision propels us forward. And of course, to our director of ICHR, Dr. Nasir Ahmed, your guidance shapes our journey. And to everyone else that made ICHR possible, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your invaluable contributions.
I would like to have Dr. Rahman on stage to present the shield of thanks to the chief guest, Professor Mukhtar Ahmed.
You do this, मुझे सिर्फ बात करना है।
Now a shield will be presented to the patroning chief, Professor Dr. Muhammad Rahman. A shield for the conference patron, Professor Dr. Ghulam Rasool.
A shield for our CEO, Sir Shafiqur Rahman. Chairman Dr. Nasir Ahmed. Conference Secretary Dr. Anila Noshin. Conference Coordinator Dr. Iqbal Wahed.
Media Manager Syed Shabir Shah. And Manager IT Shehzad Haider.
Now to applaud the efforts put forward by our students and the very capable stage team, starting with the President, Suhaib Ahmed. The Vice President, Abir Aftab. The General Secretary, Muhammad Ehsan. The Joint Secretary, Gulrukh Bashir. The Chief Event Organizer, Muhammad Ibrahim. Chief Advisor of Cabinet and Registration Head, Momina Nasir. And State Secretary, Hamdan Adil.
Dr. Rahman, please, you can sit down.
Have a seat, sir.
नहीं सर
Sir, जी sir, आप लोग अभी नहीं.
Dr. Rahman.
We have a lot of awards left to give.
Too much.
It's a surprise.
It is an honor to be here with so many talented individuals and organizations who have demonstrated exceptional skill, dedication, and innovation in their work.
It is time to recognize and reward those who have broken barriers and achieved remarkable success in various activities of ICHR 24. First award.
The first award is for Best Researcher. I would like to call upon stage Dr. Junaid Sarfaraz to give away this award.
I think I'll just be announcing the award, and it's my profound privilege and honor to be here and as part of the committee, as an external member of the committee that was constituted to select and finalize the best RMI researcher. The committee was headed by Professor Dr. Shahzada Bakhtiyar Zaid Sahab, who is the dean at RMI. There was myself and Professor Dr. Tariq Mufti and Muhammad Iqbal Wahid Sahab. There was a very clear and transparent criteria against which the 14 applicants were judged, and the clear winner based on that criteria is Dr. Nasir Ahmed from RMI.
We are now here to announce the Young Investigator Award, which goes to Dr. Irfanullah. He's a resident of medicine with more than 200 publications, more than 25 H index, and 2,500 plus citations. Could you please have Dr. Irfan on stage?
Great. Now moving on to the winners for various activities. The first category is poster.
Poster presentation competition. So we had two categories, the postgrad and the undergrad. Starting with the postgrad, the second runner-up is from Northwest School of Medicine, Dr. Raeed Mufti. First runner-up is from Ayub Medical College, Dr. Halima Qayyum Abbasi. In first place, we have Rahman Medical Institute, Dr. Waleed Khan. Moving on to the undergrad, so we have a tie for the third position. First one from RMI Education, Rahman College of Nursing, Gohar Rahman. Also for third position we have Peshawar Medical College, Muhammad Danial. First runner-up we have from Women Medical College, Bakhtmina Nizam.
Okay, sir.
In first place, we have from Khyber Medical College, Wahab Zia.
Moving on to the oral presentations, we have three categories. The first one is in person, and third position is by Malik Amanullah. Second position is Saika Sardar. First position is Muhammad Ibrahim. Second category is oral presentations online. The third position is Munal Gulzar. Second position is Zara Shaukat. And first position is Fersha Kandera Farah. Now the third category is rapid fire. The third position is Hamza Farooq. Second position is Muhammad Ahmed. And the first position is Ahad Ali Nazir. Now Dr. Sobia Salam will join us for the further awards.
Okay. I, Dr. Sobia Salam, here to announce the winners of Undergraduate Research Corner to join us to receive their well-deserved awards. Category 1 was skits and dramas based on research themes such as Eureka Moments, Ghost Authorship, etc. So the first prize goes to Team RCRS. Theme was Autobiography of Stephen Hawking, a researcher. Team RCRS, please come and receive your award. Second category is graphics.
Okay, in graphics, first prize goes to, again, RCRS team. Theme was Researcher's Dilemma. Please come and receive your award, research team. Take it, sir. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 second position in graphics. First, I would like to invite team RCD at Azaz and friends. Please come on stage. Their theme was Ghost Authorship. The graphics. Team RCD. Their theme was Ghost Authorship, which was an eye-opener for many of us. Okay, another second position goes to Team Rahman College of Allied Health Sciences. Their theme was Thesis Defense. Allied Health Sciences. If someone is coming. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
So it's finished now.
No. Thank you, sir. I'd like to request, yes, sir, right. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. So we're going to have...
स्टूडेंट्स बाहर चले जाएं, ग्रुप फोटो होगा एक छोटा सा, क्विकली स्टूडेंट्स बाहर चले जाएं.
The students who are involved in ICHR committees, okay? Those students who are actively participating in ICHR, please join the chief guest for a picture.
I request all students present here to join us for lunch right outside. Thank you.